Looks like the boss is getting ready.
At 6 o'clock.
Gavel in.
I'm looking for Chris.
Oh, it is 6, almost straight up.
Where's Christoph? Oh, he needs to be in the room. Oh,
I don't think so for you to call it to order.
it's true.
Unless you think there'll be a legal question between you and the
Yeah,
Pledge of Allegiance.
we might be questioning the roll call. I'm going to do it. Ready?
Yeah, good.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the City of Cape May's Historic Preservation Commission meeting on Monday, December 15th, 2025. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. If any member has reason to believe that this meeting is being held in violation of this act, they should state so at this time. Hearing none, could all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lauren, could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Becker,
Here.
Mr. Testa,
Here.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Bisagno,
Here.
Ms. Wilson Stridick, Mr. Stevenson,
Present.
Ms. Decker, Mr. Hammeran,
Here.
Mr. Kurtz,
Did she call me? I didn't hear it. I'm here. I didn't hear you.
Okay, so you all had time to review the minutes from our meeting on November 24th, the revised version, the second version that Lauren emailed to everybody? If so, I'd like
I
to,
would make a motion that we accept the minutes. I did want to point out that I offered one minor additional correction. It was simply arithmetic on one of the totals. So it was let's call it a typo.
oh, just a typo?
A typo.
Okay,
And I would like to add that Judy Decker was there and wasn't listed as attending,
okay.
even though she got sworn in after you took the roll call. That would be a technicality.
So, given the arithmetic correction and Judy's presence, do we have a motion to approve the minutes with
I was
those
trying to make
revisions?
that motion, so I'll make the motion
And I'll
as such.
second it.
So
Okay?
moved, okay. Moved,
Second.
great. Moved by Mr. Testa, seconded by Mr. Carroll. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Bisagno,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Abstain.
Ms. Decker,
Yes.
Mr. Hammeran,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Abstain.
Mr. Testa,
Yes.
Mr. Becker,
Yes. So you also received in an email a bill from our solicitor dated December 10th. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve payment of that bill, please.
I will move. Second.
Moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by, excuse me, Mr. Stevenson. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Bisagno,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Stridick, Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Ms. Decker,
Yes.
Mr. Hammeran,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mr. Testa,
Yes.
Mr. Becker,
Yes. We also received via email the following resolutions for ratification. The City of Cape May, Virginia Avenue, Reading Avenue, Harbor Lane, and Howard Street, Resolution 2025-46. Ryan at 824 Kearney Street, Resolution 2025-47. Harner at 1215 Washington Street, Resolution 2025-48. City of Cape May Tennis Center at 1020 Washington Street, Resolution 2025-49. Carney's Incorporated at 411 and 429 Beach Avenue, Resolution 2025-50. Fisher at 1013 Stockton Avenue, Resolution 2025-51. Cape Rock Condominium Association at 1520 New Jersey Avenue, Resolution 2025-52. Nowakowski-276 Windsor Irrevocable Trust at 276 Windsor Avenue, Resolution 2025-53. I'd like to entertain a motion to ratify these resolutions.
Move we approve.
I'll second.
Moved by Mr. Hammeran, seconded by Ms. Decker.
Mr. Carroll,
I recuse myself on the Cape May Tennis Club, but all the others, I'm in favor.
Ms. Bisagno,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Abstain.
Ms. Decker,
Yes.
Mr. Hammeran,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Abstain.
Mr. Testa,
I vote yes on all except for City of Cape May Tennis Center and Cape Rock Condominium Association, from which I abstain.
Mr. Becker?
Yes, except for the Cape May Tennis Center, being a member there, I must recuse myself. Okay, applications that were approved and denied in review, we all have the list. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve those.
I will make that motion.
A second?
Moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Mr. Kurtz. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pasagno?
Yes,
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammerand?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. So you may recall that at the beginning of this year, in February, we at the HPC conducted a series of alignment workshops, and at the very first one, we spent pretty much the entire day unpacking and aligning around what the true purpose of our work is. And in order to set the tone and establish the energy in the room tonight, I'd like to ask Mr. Kurtz if he'd be willing to read the purpose statement that we aligned around.
Certainly. It's to serve as a catalyst for guiding and valuing Cape May's historical, cultural, and natural resources in ways that inspire and unite our community to steward these resources for the benefit of all, so that present and future generations continue to express the unique quality of life we share in this place we love.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if we could open up applications, the first application on our agenda is 1246 Lafayette Street, LLC. This is for a solar panel installation. If you could please just have a seat up here and turn on your microphones by pressing the button so they're green, and state your name, your address, and the role you have in the project, please.
Hi, Lisa Ronca with Tesla Energy. I'm representing on behalf of the homeowner and just getting the application for the historical approval so we can move on to the permitting process if it's approved.
Can I get the spelling of your last name? I'm
Yep,
sorry.
R-O-N-C-A, first name Lisa.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nick Markley, M-A-R-K-L-E-Y. I'm the installation supervisor and the general manager of the company on behalf, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, on behalf of the homeowner at 1246 Lafayette Street.
And does the owner authorize you to represent their interests here this evening?
That is correct.
Confirmation is provided in writing.
Thank you. So I think I can cut to the chase here. So our standards state specifically that photovoltaic systems on roofs cannot be visible from any public right-of-way by a pedestrian who's on the public right-of-way. So as usual, I went and I took a look at the property, and unfortunately, it's quite visible from Washington Street, where the proposed, it looks like 11 panels are intended to be installed.
It's 16.
16. Oh, I miscounted. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, that entire roof is visible from Washington Street. So as much as we'd like to encourage the installation of renewable energy systems, that location will not comply with our standards. However, I think you may have an option. Let me just throw this out. There's a sizable shed further west, well, depending on whether you want west or south. The compass gets a little like 45 degrees there. It appears that you may be able to fit a majority of those panels on that larger shed, which has just recently been expanded, as well as maybe the smaller shed that's there. Now, I realize that they wouldn't be contiguous, therefore. However, there's also a slate porch area between the house and the shed that if your owner would entertain some sort of structure there upon which these photovoltaic panels could be put with maybe a very small parapet so that the 5-inch height of the rack would not be visible, I think you may be able to find a solution that would be acceptable. Unfortunately, however, where they're currently being proposed in your drawings would not be appropriate, and we could not approve it.
Not a problem. I appreciate you looking into that. I will look to the structural engineer sides, and we'll get calculations on the sheds, see if that's something that's feasible. Question I do have is if the homeowner were to reject themselves from having the solar panels installed, is there a historic issue for the equipment that's could potentially be mounted on the side of the house for energy storage?
What would that equipment entail?
You mean the battery, the so-called
batteries.
wall, energy wall?
Correct, the power walls.
Yeah, if it were on the back of the house and the location of it was not visible from the street, that would be fine. And it appears that the orientation of where that smaller shed is would give you ample opportunity to do that without it being visible.
Understood. Now, is that including disconnects that would have to be near the
Yes.
utility meter? That's a requirement
Near the
through
building
utility.
meter.
It's on the northwest corner of the building, right to the left of the driveway.
It's minimal. I think that the disconnect would not be a problem. That would, where would the inverters go?
The power walls and the inverters would also be on the same wall as
Okay.
what is proposed here on print. That's on the northwest, the northeast, I'm sorry.
That would be acceptable.
So, but that, by code, but we need to at least have the disconnect and for grouping and disconnects, we have to
So-
have gateway there.
In your new proposal, if you would just simply indicate the location of those pieces of equipment and their sizes on your drawings, then we would be able to review them,
Not a problem.
okay? So, do you anticipate resubmitting this proposal with the new location? Because if so, we would invite you to potentially table this.
Yeah, we definitely would be.
So what we could do is, if you want to request to adjourn this indefinitely and waive the time for decision, for the board to make a decision prematurely before you have this fully fleshed out, that would give you the time to go back to the client, address this relocation, come back with a revised concept, and then when you're ready, you could reach out to the board secretary and say, hey, we're ready to resubmit. And it essentially keeps you in queue to take some of these comments back and then resubmit at a later time.
Perfect, that'd be great.
Right, and rather than having a motion tonight that we would vote down, it would prohibit you from having to submit another application with a new application fee.
Absolutely, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, since you probably will be thinking about doing other installations, you have to remember that it's not just one street that counts, right? So you have to look at all places where they may be visible.
Understood.
If we're blocked by another building on the back, that's a different story.
Yes, sir.
So I'll move to table the application, with the applicant waiting a 45-day period. And I'll just guess that it's not me that's making the crackling on the PA system. Anyway, that's the motion. Motion to table, subject to waiver.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Testa, seconded by Mr. Hamron. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Pisagno,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Ms. Decker,
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mr. Testa,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great
Appreciate your
holiday.
time.
Mr. Chairman, can I just add a word about the solar power systems? I was reading in the Washington Post just recently, Tesla is actually one of the companies that's coming up with a solar system that can blend almost perfectly with slate shingles, asphalt shingles on your roof. And right now, it looks terribly expensive, but it certainly seems that things are moving in that direction. So hopefully, if people have a little patience, there's going to be some systems out there that can look just like a roof, but also have the power for sun collection.
Yeah, Tesla had a system not long ago that was very close to being building integrated photovoltaics that looked very much like roof shingles. There's a big installation over on New England.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very close. So
Yeah, that's real close.
as soon as that technology gets to that point, I think we may be able to rethink what our standards say.
Yeah, we tabled that concept. We kind of pushed it off in Jersey. It's still an option in other states.
Yeah.
It's not here right now.
Bring it on, guys. Yeah, we would strongly encourage it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Next applicant, please, for Perry Street Associates LLC, 29 Perry Street. If you could please state your name, your role in the project, and your address, please.
Robert Shapansky, Shepanski, project manager for Perry Street Associates.
The floor is yours, Mr. Shapansky.
So I returned from the last meeting with a revised and simplified porch enclosure here for review. We did also obtain a zoning compliance for the enclosure. As you can see, they're not divided light. They're just, clear acrylic panels with wood frames. I cannot attest to the fastening yet because I haven't really figured all that out, but what I can say at this meeting is that all hardware, including the panels, will be removed seasonally. We're proposing a seasonal enclosure from a fortnight of October 15th until around May 15th of each year.
So you're proposing that they would be removed from May 15th to October 15th?
Correct, yes.
So I would like to state that these folks are back to us after having been here on a meeting in October, on October 20th. And in the intervening period, came and spoke with us about feasibility of this at our review committee meeting. So I think in this case, we might want to go around the table because we reviewed this before. So Kevin, how about if we start with you?
Sure. I think the question on the table when he came to review was the removability. One was that, could it be easily, cleanly removed, not leaving any visible evidence behind? The whole objective to that is to preserve the historical integrity of the house and the streetscape appearance. He met that in my mind. I don't think there's a particular issue with this. I think the one thing we always ask ourselves is, the claim is they'll remove it, will they really remove it, or will it, just wind up staying in place? I mean, I think the important part on our end is it removable? That's what, protects the historic legacy and contributing status of the house. We have to take them at the word and then deal with that as a matter of enforcement, not approval. So I'm prepared to approve the project tonight.
I think it's much more streamlined, and I don't have any problems with it at all.
Judy?
I have an issue with enclosing porches, even seasonally. Our standards on page 32 state enclosing an existing porch is not appropriate on contributing properties. Doesn't say anything about it being seasonal or not. I have the same concerns.
Judy, can I
as-
ask you to just speak up a little bit?
Yeah, I have the same concerns as Mr. Hammerin. Also, page 34, full enclosure of a porch with glazing is not appropriate. So I am not comfortable approving the enclosure of this porch. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, my recollection was that some of the remnants of the mounting hardware would still be there during the summer. And I think you've just expressed, and through the meetings on Tuesdays, that that would no longer be the case. It would be clean. So that was my objection.
I guess I'm next. I understand the reason. First of all, the panels are well-crafted. I understand the reason, given the seasonality you're talking about, putting them in. However, I defer also to the explanation from Ms. Decker about enclosing porches, but the thing that troubles me is the property report with respect to this structure being contributing. And what it says is, every effort should be made to continue to retain original elements on the house, such as the open porch. And to me, this encloses a porch, and I think it substantially changes the character of the porch when it's closed. I appreciate the fact that it'll be open during high season, and you're probably doing this for energy saving and something of that sort. But I just don't find enclosing a porch on a contributing structure, particularly one where it's been noted as important to be kept open, as an acceptable thing to do.
In keeping with other porches that we've allowed to be enclosed in such a fashion, this does protect the elements of the porch, the columns, the railings, kind of like what we permitted on the Mad Batter, which has been up now for a couple of years. That's a very good example to follow. However, I think the Mad Batter also said it was going to be seasonal, and it certainly hasn't been, so that is certainly a problem with us. I will say that projects done by Curtis Bashall and Congress Hall have always been exceptional, and everybody likes to watch what's going on, and that poor guy gets turned in on anything that's going wrong. at least from a past mayor, that was certainly one of the cases. I have a feeling that this would be carried out very, very well. And I've been on that porch, the wind factors and things like that, the closeness to the traffic, I can understand why this would be desirable for them. So I will vote yes for it.
I agree with Mr. Carroll. It's a nice project, and I think by the seasonal opening of that porch, it keeps the integrity of that street, which is a lot of open porches. In the wintertime, it's a hotel, so to speak. This way, I think the people can still enjoy the porch, but not freeze their behinds off. So I think it's a great project, and I approve it.
So,
If I can just comment for a quick
Please,
second. To address your discomfort, I think the language described here for a porch enclosure would be someone asking to make their porch part of their home, where they put up siding over the railings, and they add windows, and they cover the porch, and it becomes an interior portion of the house. This is not the case there. We're putting panels behind the railings, behind the columns, leaving everything intact, and we're simply keeping the weather out for a few months during the winter. So, I don't think that it's an enclosure of the porch. It's certainly not permanent, and I just, that's what I want to say.
Bob, my only concern is that it says there's two different words, it will be or it can be. I think it has to be stated in bold letters that it will be removed and put back.
Well, unfortunately, we don't
I-
enforce those things, and you have to keep people at their promises. I just think the word enclosure doesn't mean as extensively closed off as you've purported to say. I do think that, I'm more persuaded by the report, which talks about maintaining the open porch. I don't think enclosing a porch, even seasonally, is an open porch. And I'm not unsympathetic to the reasons you're doing it, and I think the quality of what you've done is good design. It just simply isn't something that I can approve of. I mean, that's as far as it goes.
So our standards are written in a way that allows for some ambiguity given certain conditions. Given that this same owner has done a similar seasonal enclosure of a porch at the Virginia quite successfully, in fact, we point to it for others who have come to us as an example of how to do it, I'm in support of this, particularly given that you've maintained all of the critical elements of the railings and the columns, and it's all behind it. However, there is one question that I have for you, and that is, as we noted in October, the details currently shown on the drawings do not appear to allow for it to be easily removed, and it appears as those have not changed yet. Is that accurate?
Right. It's a pretty complicated fastening system drawn here with angle iron and bolts and whatnot. It doesn't need to be that complicated. It just needs to be completely removable, and that's what it will be.
Correct. So for example, if you look at these details where it's bolted into the top rail, there's actually a piece of fascia that's placed over it, which would be really difficult to remove. So I would suggest, in fact, I'll make a motion that we approve this with two conditions. The first condition is that the owner has agreed to remove it from May 15th till October 15th. The second is that you bring back to the review committee details indicating that it is easily removable.
Okay, sure.
That would be my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pasagno?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
No.
Mr. Hammerand?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
No.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. So, note that we need to have you resubmit those drawings for the review committee to take a look at and verify the details that we're requesting before you can proceed with the work. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next agenda item is Locale Stockton LLC, 5 Stockton Place. Hi. If you could, please, state your name, your address, and your role in the project, please.
My name's Chad Ludeman. My address is 560 Shunpike Road, Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey. And I'm one of the owners of the property.
Is this the one? Is this the crackler? I think it is. Okay.
There's another one. Got to press it till it goes green.
Oh, that's you got the crackly one.
You got the crackle.
I did. Okay. Is this better? Hopefully.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. My name is Kyle Toth. I'm an architectural historian at PS&S Architects and Engineers, and we are at 3 Mountain View Road in Warren, New Jersey.
Okay. These folks came to us in the review committee on October 30th and spoke with us, both Chad and Kyle?
Kyle. Yes.
Yep. So the floor is yours, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure as you guys are aware, we've been here a number of times. We were encouraged to come back recently and present now that you guys have some new guidelines with what we propose to change to the building that's been around since about 2018. So that's what we're here to do tonight. There was a previous meeting that we were unaware of, that we did not attend, we were not at, we didn't get notice of before or after. I think that if we had been at that meeting, that this is probably something similar to what we would have probably proposed had we known that the HPC was not happy with the direction that we were going, so.
I'm not sure I understand that remark, but okay.
So I'll take over from here for Chad to provide some new information on the project. I prepared some slides that it seems like it's going to be more complicated to try to coordinate than show, but I have visual material for reference if you'd like to see, and hopefully you've also seen it's the same material that's in the report that we provided to you. So the building was assessed as a contributing property in the 2009 update to the survey by McCabe Associates, and by no fault of their own, just a matter of available resources at the time, they dated the building to the 1930s based on the information in the Sanborn maps. Now, we came across new information in the Dahlin aerial photographs, and for your reference, especially in Cape May, this is a great resource. It's through the Hagley Museum, which is a museum down in Delaware. They have a digital archive that has all of this material available that we rely a lot on for these coastal towns. And it shows that the building was actually built by 1926, built and occupied and in full use. So it's about a decade earlier than previously thought. And shifts the narrative a little bit in terms of how this building was interpreted. So just for your own reference, that we can now pretty confidently date the building to around 1925, 1926, when we know it was occupied and in use. And it was a pretty simple U-plan building. It had 2 front porches on the front that were they were 2 stories, and they were only accessed from the interior. There was one center entrance into the building from the front, and then it was a multi-unit property from its construction. So there were 2 side entrances as well that provided access to the rear units of the building. That configuration of the porch and everything was changed actually several times in the 20th century. At one point, there was a full-width front porch put on the top. Then they started using the upper porch as well, and then they expanded that to the more recent iteration that you see in the 2009 survey, which is the full 2-story porch. So that porch is a later fabrication to the building as it was, but that is the porch that was used in designing the updates as we see now. The main issue, as per the meeting that we previously had, was regarding the full-width stair on the current front porch. And so you have the plan in front of us, and we are in front of you there. And the revised proposed plan is to significantly decrease the width of that to the single central bay, bring those side railings into that, and then put up a matching rail along that whole first floor of the porch there to make it much more consistent with the neighboring properties and the general porch configuration for the city of Cape May. So that's to address the porch itself. Now, the other question that came up in this previous meeting was about the breeze block wall around the pool and the parking area, and whether or not that's considered, knowing that it's been suggested that it's not considered appropriate for the building in the period, but we did a little more looking into breeze block and the contextualization of that, which, as these things happen, turned out to be...
When was the breeze block installed?
So that was installed as part of this, what year was that, 2018 renovation campaign? The same as the front stair. So the breeze block, historically, and this turned out, and again, I'm an architectural historian, so it's interesting to me, but hopefully to you as well, it was much more interesting than I anticipated. Concrete block, as you know, was a very popular building material 1890s on when they started mass producing it. And you see that a lot around Cape May, especially over in East Cape May, where you see a lot of concrete block foundations with the rusticated bases or the formstone or what have you. But it was obviously prevalent in Cape May, and we see that too here. In the 1920s, they used a very simple concrete block foundation on the building itself. Now, also around the same time of the construction of this building, there were some pretty major designers, Frank Lloyd Wright being a leader, but it was happening globally, started to use concrete block in a decorative sense. And they would perforate it, they would come up with these very elaborate patterns for it, because what they were trying to do was come up with screening systems that were, as concrete famously was fireproof or considered fireproof, that similarly were fireproof but could create these same effects of wood screens or more decorative screens. And they were casting it similar to what you might see in terracotta decorations. Things that were much more elaborate but out of concrete, and they were really exploring the viability of this material. And so we have a lot of examples in the US of Frank Lloyd Wright using this in particular, but then there are also examples across the globe of this concrete block. And even simple forms we see in France in the 20s, there's a much more, you would think it was built in the 60s, but it's actually from 1923. So it was actually a increasingly popular building material around the world in the 1920s. Now, we associate it now historically because in the 50s, Edward Durrell Stone really made this an infamous building material in his many, many projects, the Kennedy Center, his projects over in India that he did, but that's really when the boom that we now associate with concrete block took off, and you see the 60s in Cape May, you see over at the Lafayette Hotel where they're using it as screens. But the precedent for that and the origins of the uses of that actually is from around the time that the original 5 Stockton Place was built. So in terms of appropriate building material, it was being used in the 20s. It wasn't necessarily used at that site, as we know, because it was a very simple apartment building at the time when it was constructed. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that they were using concrete block in these perforated and decorative uses as a screen. I'll also add, as Chad can back me up here, that the plan is, and as I've seen in my most recent visit, is to plant alongside of it so that it's virtually screened by vegetation.
Correct, and I mean, that is why we originally spec'd the concrete block, because it was created and it was starting to get popular around the point that the historic record that's on file with Cape May told us that the original building was constructed. And also because the breeze block was used a lot in coastal areas.
Which is true. It's popular in coastal areas, obviously, because it allows for flood and passage of air, sand, water, et cetera.
We also knew we weren't using it as a fence or anything on the front property line, anything that was going to be, seen from the streetscape much after the landscape matured, as it is now.
Okay, so to be clear, this application is specifically requesting only 2 things, correct? One is the reconstruction of the stair at the center bay to be made of wood with railings that match the existing. And the second is to put new paving material where the parking is currently in crushed shells. Is that accurate?
Yes, so the parking material is, I don't believe, an HPC issue. I don't think the HPC ever had an issue with the clamshells, but the planning department does not like it and has voted against us to have that. So we're really just changing it back to pavers for them, but we obviously want to show the pavers and the detail to you.
Yeah, HPC's purview around the pavers is simply we do need to approve the material that you're using.
Right.
We don't require that you pave it with pavers, but if you are going to do that, we need to approve the material, and you have submitted a cut sheet of what you're proposing.
Correct.
So again, to be clear, this application is simply for those 2 issues. Is that accurate?
I would say the stair and then adding railings to the front, which is necessary by code once we bring the stair in.
Right.
Stair is one issue, the railings maybe is a second issue, depending on how you look at it.
Okay.
And because the breeze block, there's no alteration being proposed, I wouldn't imagine that would be require a specific.
The breeze block has already been installed.
Right.
So I think what we should do here is go around the room and see how everybody feels about these 2 issues only, and then reassess.
If I could just say one last thing.
Sure.
The original guidelines when we designed the building, when we looked up the period that we thought our building was built in the historic guidelines that were previous there, it mentioned full width stair in our period of building or whatever. So that's literally where the design came from. I don't think we would have thought of a full-width stair on our own. I think now we realize that, you know, after this time and looking at I almost feel like that was, I don't want to say a typo, but like written in a way that maybe we misunderstood it. So I think if we knew that the HPC or the city in general anyways didn't like the full width stair, we would have happily come back to what we're proposing now. I think there was I forgot what the term was of the other stair. A bridge stair was proposed.
Bridge stair, yeah.
But that is, you know, because of the location of our building, that bridge stair would have been right on the property line, right on the sidewalk, literally would have created like a wall there. It was never there in the past, so we think this is a lot more fitting to both the current design standards and, you know, a lot of the other buildings that you.
Yeah, that bridge stair was the product of, they actually moved that stair forward to put an access ramp behind
Right.
it.
That was clear in the photographs you submitted.
Right.
Yeah, so that history, thank you for all that. It was well documented. So there are some significant complications in the history of this project. So in the interest of moving forward with this application, I'd like to have everybody comment on these two issues, and then we'll come back and talk about a little bit more about some of the other complexities that weave through this. How's that sound to you guys? Okay? Yogi?
I like the rendering. The rendering is such more suitable for that street than what we have there now. That's kind of stadium looking to me. The clamshells are clamshells. I think the pavers are much nicer. I'd like the project, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and so you're saying that the pavers that are being submitted, the
Yeah.
cut sheets, you would find acceptable?
Yes, I
Okay.
would.
Tom?
The central staircase is on the report that we had that circulated a little bit later that showed it as the center staircase, and that would have been exactly how it would have been built in that period of time. I remember the commotion about having the clamshells, and the planning board specifically said, when cars backed out, they're kicking these clamshells up on the sidewalk, and it's a sidewalk leading to the beach, and half the people are barefoot, and it was not a good idea. So we were certainly in agreement with that ruling, although the material there was not as big of an issue for us. When there was a battle over the CO to be given to this building, there were some other things that were brought up. One was the fence in the backyard was designed so the finished side faced the property, and the structural side was aimed at the neighbors, which is definitely not in our.
So, Tom, could I ask you to just be discussing these two issues? We'll come back to that other stuff, okay?
But I would just like to make sure that other things are taken care of, too.
Great.
I can make this really brief. Pavers are fine, and I think the central location of a stairway is an improvement. Otherwise, it looks like I think as Yogi mentioned, entrance to a stadium. That's an improvement, so fine.
Jake?
Yeah, I know the big concern last time around regarding the steps was that it was more appropriate for like a Colorado town in the Rockies, but I think you've done a great change here, bringing it really in compliance with our look here.
Okay.
Additionally, regarding the stones, is your intent to make it look sort of like cobblestones? Because we don't really like a modern look.
Right, the paver is kind of a random cobblestone. I mean, obviously, it's a modern material, but it's, they're kind of a flattened version of a cobblestone, I guess, for ease of walking on and driving on.
Yeah, we just don't really go for the, the octagonal ones, the new designs popular now. But I think this design does fit in better.
Yeah, it's kind of a random
Yes.
pattern.
Great. Judy?
Thank you very much for coming back and improving your design. I know this has been a long-term project for you. I think it looks substantially better and more appropriate for Cape May in this design. Are you really attached to, we don't regulate color, but I would just suggest that I think part of maybe the problem when this first appeared to us was the color black as well. And I noticed that it's a stain, the black, is that correct?
Thank you, yes.
Okay. You do like the black?
Most people could tell me it's painted black, and it upsets me because I painstakingly
It is, it's
painted
stained.
myself.
Okay, I mean, it's just a suggestion. I think it might be more appropriate if it was a gray, a dark gray, a little bit softer look. But otherwise, I mean, I think this is a substantial improvement, and we definitely appreciate you coming back, so thanks.
Thank you. And just to clarify slightly on the stain, we diluted the stain so that it would weather a little bit faster. So you notice now it has kind of a weather look.
has grayed
It looks like
out.
it's been there a little bit longer than it has.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the wall, so.
Yeah, black pine tar, that wasn't an easy application.
It's, you gotta brush it on by hand.
Yeah.
I also
B.
burned all the cedar as well.
Well, I was never a fan of the stairs. So I feel that this is much more aesthetically pleasing than the stairs. And I was glad to see that. And I like the pavers. I'd like them, as Judy would say, to be more on the soft side, maybe gray as opposed to black, but,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
So first off, I don't have any problem with the pavers either. I think those are appropriate. I'd be okay with those. Actually, I was the one who called in and asked for a copy of the property report, and the reason was I remembered that stair. And, you know, I think a good piece of the information you submitted to us is really, at some point, kind of challenging the contributing status and whether that's actually been lost or what have you with all the iterative renovations made to this building. I don't think it has. And the reason I don't is that while the building was built earlier than was described by the report, you know, it still is built within the period of significance, and the renovations occurred within the period of significance. So it still retains that. And the individual who did the actual, you know, decided it was contributing, you know, worked from that photograph. And so in some respects, everything that you're doing, I think, is in many ways restoring it to that look. And I think that's a great thing. So I think going back to that stair is actually bringing it back to something that is much more close to the contributing status of the building when the contributing status was determined. So I applaud that, actually. And it is a great piece of history that you gave us. I think that's really helpful. You can see the building has been through the war. I mean, it was, you know, there was a lot of sort of damage done to the building, and to your credit, I think you've restored a lot of that. And, you know, to some degree, this is not what the original, very original building looked like with the two double, you know, porches, but you're getting closer and closer back to that. And this certainly, you know, the double porches as shown in the property report is what's there. And so I think this is a good project to approve.
You would understand that we still have to treat this as a contributing structure,
That's right.
regardless of the essays. And we'll have to see how it comes out next time, but we treat it as contributing because that's what the report says.
And those reports are under the purview of the State Historic Preservation Office. So I concur with my colleagues.
That's the very heart of what we're here for, is to
Right.
preserve the contributing status buildings, because that's what in turn leads to our national designation.
So I concur with my colleagues. I think that you've done a fine job here in terms of both the porch steps reconfiguration and the pavers. However, there are some other associated issues such as the breeze block and the fence that Tom talked about. So I'd like to turn it over to our solicitor just to make sure we're all being perfectly clear about what's getting approved here.
So I think it's great that you guys came in, and Mr. Toth, it was a really nice comprehensive submittal. We do have to kind of address the elephant in the room. I was actually in Trenton arguing this appeal last Thursday. So let's just get it out, and I'll reiterate what I said to your counsel last week, which is if you want to come in and make another application, you're free to do that. And it might be an opportunity to look at these items and maybe come up with a comprehensive solution. But you can submit for 3 items, but that doesn't require the HPC to put on blinders to the rest of the building. So what I would suggest is we talk about those items and see if we can come up with something. Since you're here, I didn't realize that was going to be this week, a week later, but you're here. So I'm going to go over those items for the board's edification, and I would invite you to comment, and I will reiterate that the fact that we're in litigation is unfortunate, but I would just strictly limit our review and discussion to whether these are appropriate or not, and not think about the litigation context. And how the board comes out on that is up to the board. but we need to put all the pieces on the table so that the board can evaluate the building in its totality with what you're proposing. So the reference point is the foundation was approved to be brick. No brick is present currently out there. The roofing was approved to be standing seam metal roof. The roof is now asphalt fiberglass shingles. That's 2. Number 3, the applicant agreed to redesign the railing in Chippendale style. This was not done the way it's out there. And Mr. Toth, again, I'll invite you to comment on each one of these things.
Of course.
The applicant, number 4, the applicant agreed to retain the original front stair bridge design. You did address that. Number 5, the wood fencing was approved to follow HPC design standards. The fencing should be vertical. It was just installed horizontally on the site, as you know. Number 6, the breeze block wall. You did provide some comment on that. Number 7, the parking area was approved for brick pavers. You did make a proposal for that tonight. And number 8, the HPC design standards require HVAC equipment to be covered with wooden lattice screen. I think you've already addressed that on the site.
Yeah, our HVAC needed to replace one of the exterior units, and he did an HPC application and screened it.
So the lattice is up there now presently.
Correct.
So that,
Okay.
number 8's been addressed. And
Okay.
those are the 8 items.
Sure. So, and I'll walk through the others. Please remind me if I'm missing one. The first you mentioned was the brick on the foundation, which, as you see in the, and I do have a close-up of it, but we do have documentation even as per the 2009 survey that it was constructed with a concrete block foundation that was always exposed. So an application of a brick veneer to this would be inappropriate even per your standards and the Secretary of the Interior standards, because it would be applying a historic material to an area where it never was, and it would create a false sense of history for the building, which is contrary to your standards and the national standards. So that's, number 1, is that the foundation was always a very simple concrete foundation.
So it's currently parched, right?
It's currently parched.
Yep, got it.
So it's not exposed block, but it's still just essentially a concrete face rather than a brick face that it never had. The standing seam metal, similarly, would be inappropriate for this building. Historically, it was flat roofed. It was a historic building material, and especially with the requested finer seams, but it was not ever used on this building, and again, it could fall into that category of creating a false sense of history or indicating that there's a historic roof form of historic material that was never there historically. And standard guidance is to use a modern material, use the most common material, which you'd see asphalt all through this neighborhood on the adjacent buildings. So again, it could fall into that trap of the false sense of history just for the sake of historicizing and making it look more historic than it ever actually was. The third, please remind me what the third point
The
was.
third item was the Chippendale railing.
Again, a lot of these are in the same category. This building never had Chippendale. I think historically, those first 2 bays were enclosed porches. They didn't have any rail at all. They had a knee wall, and then they had windows above it. That, of course, would have opened in the summer, but they were enclosed porches with knee walls. And then, as you see in the photographs, it was a very simple porch as per the 2009 iteration of the 2-story porch. And so the Chippendale rail, it's part of a revival, really, for Cape May. It would be part of a revival style that's completely inappropriate for this building, which was, in the 20s, was a very simple apartment block with little to no decorative elements whatsoever. And the Chippendale rail is highly decorative by comparison. So the simpler the rail, and per the national standards, and I'm assuming yours somewhere in there, the simpler the rail or the more appropriate and differentiated, the better in this, while still being compatible, obviously. And that is what my client has done here.
It's exactly like what was before. We just
Right.
rebuilt the existing railing.
And you see those common square plan balusters all over Cape May.
4 was the bridge stair.
Right, the
design
bridge
versus-
stair, the bridge stair was the product of adding an access ramp, and they have a convenient lift on the side to make that ramp unnecessary, but the bridge stair was not historic.
5 was the horizontal fencing.
That one I'm going to defer to you. I'm not sure where the conversation has landed. I mean, historically, there's no one way or another from my perspective on that, but,
Yeah, I think we just missed that one.
okay.
Well, so where is it on site? Is it more towards the front or more towards the rear? What's the orientation of that horizontal
Sure.
fence?
It's not on the front at all. It's on three the side property lines and the rear property line. If you're looking at the site to the left, it's kind of completely covered by both our vegetation, and the neighbor put up a solid fence right behind ours. Then there's a hotel to the right of ours. We did present the design to them. They signed off on it, said they liked it. Same with the neighbors in the back, but it's most exposed in the rear. You can see it from the other street, whatever the next street is, because it's just a big parking lot there.
So, Mr. Toth, is your presentation that element is somewhat less visible on the site, and you're proposing to keep it as is as part of this application?
Yes, yeah, I think the primary views of the building being, the main issue would be the breeze block that fronts that fence in the first place.
Okay. Which is the next point,
Right.
point number 6. So you're proposing that be retained
That be
as well,
retained in place.
As is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and contextualizing it with the information that we provided you, that it actually was a building material at the time that the building was built, and was obviously a popular use, not necessarily right here on that property, but a popular use for coastal because of as it still is, because of its advantages.
Okay. And then 7 is the pavers, which you're proposing to address with the cut sheet, and 8 has already been addressed out in the field, which is the HVAC lattice.
Correct.
Okay. So we have all that on the record, and that's, I think what we're hearing is that the applicant is proposing basically that the building be permitted to be in its current condition with these proposed modifications. Is that correct?
Correct. But we're happy to discuss.
So I have a question for you. So I'm prepared to make a motion to approve all 8 of those, see where the vote goes. Does that require these folks to submit a revised application to indicate all 8 of these, just to make sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's?
I accept the representation on the record that we went through each of those and that you're proposing to incorporate all that into your request, right? Isn't that the spirit of why you're here?
Yes.
Okay. Because ultimately, if you are given approval and you do these things, that is ultimately a pathway to a CO.
Right.
Okay.
So what is the status of litigation now? Argued, you say?
It's pending.
I mean, we assume there will be some discussion between the attorneys
Well,
after this meeting,
Look,
well, obviously.
I would like to see that, if this is approved, I would like to see it go away because the city prevailed in that and you're appealing it. But that's a discussion you can have with your attorney. As it pertains to this, all of those things are on the table for this approval. But as I indicated at the start of this conversation, I wouldn't prevent you from coming in here and making a proposal. So if this is acceptable to the board,
And as you can see, our attorney's not here. We're here in peace, trying to rectify this mess.
I have a
No
question
attorneys needed.
about the fence. So the fence is I mean, this is a fantastic rendering. I applaud you. We hardly ever see a rendering this great. It looks like it's already existing. This fence, was this fence part of the original reconstruction of the front of the property? Was it installed at the same time?
Yeah.
Or was it done later? It was?
Yes.
Because generally, we don't approve horizontal fences. They weren't,
Right, the landscaping was never presented to the HPC originally.
so it's a wooden fence, correct?
Correct,
Okay. And is it also stained black?
yes.
It is. I would just like to suggest that when this fence is exhausted, perhaps we could make it a condition that the fence be reviewed at that time. If wooden fence will probably deteriorate in, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 more years, the way the weather is down here. And at that time, I think it would be appropriate for the HBC to approve a new fence design.
I have to say, I'm really uncomfortable dealing with an additional group of matters where it really hasn't been specified exactly what's going to happen. I don't see an application in front of us that has those things in it. So I have a lot of difficulty dealing with it conceptually without having all the things. I mean, an application that we have in front of us has our ability to judge it. I think the rest of these things ought to be in an application, so that we can fairly evaluate the details in front of us and not on the basis of a discussion of 6 or 7 points. I just find that too vague
I agree.
for me to handle.
And I don't,
Could be a limited capacity of my brain, but, and I think it's nice to go in that direction, but I'd like to see a specific application.
I guess we weren't sure how to put the application forward with items that weren't going to change, being proposed.
Well, you can always, you submit an application here with respect to
And-
2 items
and-
that we approved.
We did, in our initial consultation, have a similar conversation over which items specifically we needed to address in this meeting. And we were directed towards focusing on the outstanding items, which were the front stair and the breeze block wall.
And you did that. And
Right.
and we have that in front of us.
But the obvious objective of that initial consultation, and as was mentioned here, why we're here today, is hopefully to be able to resolve all of these issues, because ultimately the end goal is to retain the other pieces.
And there may be a pathway to that.
Okay.
But I think what some of the board members are indicating is that conversation was kind of thrust upon us tonight, and not fine.
No,
you know,
not
come here.
not by anyone.
But like, let's,
I like it as an introduction.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it as a way to lead into talking about these topics further, but I'd really appreciate if you put in an application and specifically talked about that in the application in front of us, showed us those things and let us talk about the merits of some of them, that some of us might find them easier to approve that way, and others might not.
and in fairness to you, Mr. Toth, I put you on the hot seat to kind of come up with responses to that
You did.
on the fly, and you did a pretty good job, but it's also like giving you the opportunity to make your pitch to the board about the entirety of the record here.
Right, no, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so. Does that, then in terms of tonight and moving forward, does that mean we put this one on hold, or do we
So I have a
through and reapply for the other?
It's a good question. I have a proposal to make, and that is, of those 8 things, 6 of them are already in place. The only 2 that are not are what's in this application for tonight. So it would, in order for you guys to avoid having to submit a whole new application, if you would be willing to table this and resubmit the application with all of those 8 things in it, I think what you're hearing, generally speaking, is that there's not much here that would not be found appropriate. There's some question about the fence. You've made a brilliant, I think, thank you, argument for the breeze wall. Got me convinced. In any case, if we did that, and you put together just another application that included all of those 8 things we just itemized, and I can reread them if you'd like me to, and submitted that as a revised application for next month.
I'm going to make another suggestion, too. If you're proposing finality on the building, I would suggest to you that you consider proposing some sort of finality with this pending litigation, because the city has been successful in that, and it's taken a long time and a lot of effort. And I would suggest to you that as part of that, you make a proposal to resolve that in connection with this. I'm not asking for a response, I'm just indicating that, and I would indicate to you that it's probably going to make that discussion a lot easier next time around. And I think there's an opportunity to do that. I really do.
I mean, that's the goal. I don't think
That's
it's
the goal.
my place to speak to that. It's our
It's fine,
attorneys.
and that's why I'm not asking for a response. I'm suggesting that to you.
Yeah, and we appreciate the suggestion.
I think we're all seeking reconciliation here. Right?
I think that's very clear to
Yeah.
It's a
everyone
meeting
involved.
we've been asking for years.
Yeah. So, how should we proceed?
Well, I think that they have to make a decision, but they've made an application, we've reviewed those 2 points. They have the ability to come back for the balance, or they have the ability to table. I mean, you have to choose which you would like to choose.
If you could potentially just table, waive the time for decision. You could provide a revised submittal, and Mr. Ludeman, you could talk to your attorney and have him reach out to me in advance of the next meeting.
That sounds reasonable.
Great.
Which do you
guys want
choose?
to make any other comments on the other points?
So, I think what we're doing here is, does anybody have any comments about the other 6 issues? Judy?
We didn't receive a property report with this application, so it's a it's an important piece of information that we require as part of this packet. So if we're going to have a packet come back,
Is that
please.
the 2009 survey? Or?
Yes.
Yes.
survey
Okay.
packet.
We also
Thank you.
need drawings of the details, like you're showing us a railing design, but how high, the thickness of the elements should be on that.
Yeah, so it's the one piece that I wanted to comment about this application. The only thing that's missing, I think, that we would need is just a detailed drawing of the railings. That's all.
Okay.
So I think what we're saying is.
If I can comment real quick?
Please,
I'm
sorry,
sorry. I just want to point out that in the property report, it says this is a plain two-story apartment building, but it has the distinction of being one of only a few buildings constructed during the era of the Great Depression, the time when construction virtually came to a halt. So there's the history that is important to the surveyor. And I think, as you look at it, it talks about, there are plain squared posts. There's a roof that is of asphalt shingles. It's all about simplicity in this thing. So I think to the extent that, we're talking about not cladding the foundation in a brick material, retaining the squared posts rather than going to a Chippendale kind of a style. I mean, those are all consistent with the property report. And so I think, in general, I agree. We're likely to look pretty favorably. I also have the same concern about the fence. Fences in Cape May are not generally horizontal, they are vertical. So, I would tell you, that's one you really got to consider.
I mean, you really have to understand, though, that if you do come back and things aren't decided tonight, I mean, you can get an approval which could be conditional on not exactly what you've asked for.
Right.
Understand that, so.
Right.
I'll propose a new vertical fence on the rear property line. Probably not on the side properties because I think they're hidden, but, so we'll show that detail.
Okay.
Great, so I think you're making the choice to table this application?
Sounds like it.
Okay, so just so what we're hearing then
Have
is
to
that
make the choice.
the 8 issues that we're going to get back from
Slightly
you
exhausted from this process.
in a revised application would be retaining the current parged concrete block foundation, retaining the current asphalt roof shingles, not putting in the Chippendale railings, but using the railings that are currently there with the square in plan balusters and posts and spindles. The current horizontal fencing, except for in the back where you would propose vertical fencing, keeping the current breeze block wall, new pavers as you proposed tonight, HVAC lattice screen, which is already in place, and the new stair configuration as proposed this evening.
Correct.
So I would make a motion to table this pending your resubmission.
Okay.
I will second it.
Moved by Mr. Becker, seconded by Mr. Carroll. Roll
I
call
have
vote.
one
please.
question
Oh.
before we step away. For the next iteration, because you commented on the details for the rail.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have the drawing right in front of me, but rail height, obviously, if it's not on there, we can add. When it comes to the rail itself, that may come down to what's available for the contractor. So is that something that we can provide you?
So what we would want to see is an elevation detail of the railing, which bottom rail, top rail, spindles, and posts.
Okay.
Particularly the size of the spindles and the spacing between them.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
That's pretty much all
So
we
you
need.
could also use your materials sheet, and you list it, and then you reference to a cut sheet.
Sure.
Or as close as you can come to a cut sheet.
Yeah. Okay, great.
It's all cedar that we
Yep.
can get.
Yeah.
And please, as Judy mentioned, please also include the property report with your next
We will.
submission. And
That was my fault, Judy, sorry. I had it, I was given it. If it's not in there, then it's.
Well,
And complete the materials checklist for all of these 8 items.
Okay.
Okay, just that's just a verbal description of what they are.
Sure.
And any photographic documentation you have, since it's already in place, we're not going to be looking at cut sheets because it's already there, would be helpful.
Okay.
But
Great.
just to save you some aggravation, too, regarding the fence railings, I know that Mr. Carroll always brings up that the baluster should be, 1 inch wide?
The opening between them should not be any more than 3.5 inches, and the balusters themselves should at least be 1.5 inches.
Okay. All right. Noted.
Railings back then
They're
were
getting bigger
usually
with every
2 inch
comment.
Yeah.
with a 3-inch
So, yeah,
opening.
inch and a half.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
coming as close to it to keep it. They had a heaviness to the railings. If you look at that north end of town, all those railing systems have much heavier look than what you're showing in your drawing there.
Sure. Okay.
Right, and specifically, in addition to the top rail should be beefy.
Right.
So we have a motion on the table, and that is
Made it and I
by Mr. Becker to table this application, seconded by Mr. Carroll. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pasagno?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammerand?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And
you.
I really want to compliment you on the historical report that you gave us. Quite compelling. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Interesting reading.
Okay, next application, please, is Sokol, if I'm pronouncing that accurately. I apologize if I'm not. That's at 8 First Avenue.
Just trying to.
Hi, how are you? Good.
Welcome. If you could please state your name and your address and your role in the project, please.
I'm Dina Sokol, and my husband and I are the property owners.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Paul Kiss, the architect for the project, 9616 Second Avenue, Stone Harbor.
Welcome back, Mr. Kiss. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. Dina, if you would just introduce yourself and why you bought the property and what you hope to do here.
Oh, sure. My husband and I have been coming down to Cape May since, I guess, the early 90s. He was coming in the 80s. We started coming down with our children in the 2000s, and in 2016, we bought a condominium in Seaboard Walk, and so we've been there for 9 years. And since COVID, we were looking to get a single family, somewhere, and ever since COVID, it's been not a lot available. So we've been eyeing the property, the Beach Avenue property, for a couple years, and finally decided to try to build our family's generational home.
All right, so I'll walk you through the presentation.
Am I in the way? Can you guys see?
We also have copies.
Oh, okay.
So the property is part of a two-lot subdivision that was created a few years ago. Subject property is the corner of First Avenue and Beach. It's a corner lot, so the siting of the building is dictated primarily by the subdivision regulations, which require 2 front yards. So it pushes the building off the corner a little bit. We inquired about averaging the front yard along First Avenue, and we're told, no, it's specifically in the subdivision. It has to be a 20-foot front yard. So the building is placed where it is, up towards the street. We're approaching the building from the corner. The subdivision also says it should be an entrance on Beach Avenue, but we talked to the engineer of the subdivision who's going to approve this, and he indicated this is acceptable as a condition of the subdivision. We located the garage, the detached garage, as far back to the corner of the property as we could to keep it away from Beach Avenue and to keep it away as far from First Avenue as we can, and the driveways along the back. Just so you know, we asked about also putting the driveway off of Beach Avenue and parking down behind the building, and that is also specifically prohibited by the subdivision. We have to put it where we put it. In between the house and the garage is a pool, and we're taking advantage of that 20-foot front yard to create a lawn area and screening the pool with landscape hedgerow so that hopefully you're not really seeing the pool from the street, for privacy and also because nobody likes to see the pool from the street. Utilities, there's outside shower, a trash enclosure is in the side yard. And we don't have any outside air conditioning units because they've elected to do geothermal heating and cooling. The house is designed with the main living space on the top floor, the first floor being bedrooms, utilities, and facing the backyard is an outdoor cabana-type space. What I've done to make that look more a part of the house is to create a solid wall with window-like openings, with Bahama shutters, which you'll see on the elevations, and also shields that activity from the street. Second floor is bedrooms and bathrooms. And as I said, the third floor is the main living space with a covered porch at the corner on the street, another covered porch along First Avenue, and kitchen, dining, living, small office. The elevation sheet is showing our proposed elevation. And what you see next to it is the house that was proposed and approved in August. I don't know what their plans are in terms of building, but I thought this was good to show relative context and scale. And this is to scale to match our building. Materials are all, you've seen the materials if you went through the booklet: red cedar roof, cedar siding, copper on the octagon and on a couple of the accents, authentic shutters, brick base, a little bit of articulation of shingled columns on the first floor, and then partial railing on the second and full railing on the third. On the side elevation, we have a brick chimney. Basically, just windows, doors, an eyebrow window. All the materials are shown. And facing the pool, it's the open first level, and then the porch extending out. And the garage building, what you see from the street is kind of reminiscent of the little cottage buildings that you'd see behind carriage houses with swinging carriage-style doors, the window above, and everything matching the house. And final sheet we submitted was the neighborhood streetscape, the vacant lots. We have 2 lots to the left is a more modern Victorian-style building. Then behind us is a vacant lot, and then a historically significant building, and then the rest of the street is a mixture of, I would say, historic homes and more modern homes.
Okay. Let's go around the room on this one. Kevin, can we start with you, please?
Well, I appreciate the explanation on that adjacent property. I was trying to figure out what face of the building that was, and it wasn't any of them. So that helped. That was one of my questions. If you could, just in terms of the streetscape drawing that you had, can you give us an idea of how many other 3-story buildings are in that First Avenue street? The only thing I want to deal with is just whether the height of the building is out of proportion with the surrounding structures.
So let's see.
And just where they're at on that little map. I saw that, and I think I have them placed, but I'm not sure.
So the order of the pictures, I generally try to follow as you go down the street. So here's our corner property. Then number 18 is this one.
Okay.
And then going down in order. These, it's really hard to see because of the trees. Maybe I should go back now and take pictures, but most of these houses are 2 stories with a third level that's within the roof lines. If you go all the way down to 26, that's 5 houses down. You see this is a more modern building, looks like 3 stories. Directly across the street, it's pretty much vacant, and there's just a very small little bungalow, and then it's parking area and vacant land. And then going down here, we have across the street at 15, diagonally across the street, it's an elevated porch, 2-story, and then the 3rd level.
Where is that on the map again?
That's here.
15?
15.
I don't see that on my map. Yeah, I know, but I don't see it on the map.
On the map, they're all numbered. The numbers correspond.
It almost looks like a 5, but it's a 15. It's between 23 and 7 across the street.
23 and 7. I just.
Yeah, I know, this is so small. It's this one.
Oh, that's a 15?
That's
Okay, I thought it was
15,
5.
yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Mr. Kist-
all right,
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay, would you maintain that really the only addition in height to what we approved in August was the cupola and the chimney height?
Yes.
So it's really not that it's anything really blocking like a wall, it's just these 2 appendages sticking up?
That's right. The main ridge of the roof is exactly the same as the adjacent house.
I don't have any other comments. Really, the only other thing is a positive, and that's that the landscaping plan speaks to a lot of native species, which I think is just a good thing in general.
Okay.
So I don't have any other comments about the building, and it looks like the height of the building is compatible with the surrounding, structures around it, so.
B.
Pretty much the same thing. It seemed massive, and I was just trying to fit it in, but a lot of questions have been answered.
I wasn't here in August. I was appointed at the last meeting. I don't understand what happened with was this your design,
No.
Mr. Kiss? It was not, so you changed architects.
No,
No, that's-
next
That's
door.
the neighbor,
That's the
that's
one-
the
Adjacent
neighbors.
Property.
Oh, that's just.
the
it's-
neighbors.
It's the neighboring house.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess my problem is, the reason we ask for this page is because we want you to place the building in a scaled streetscape. All these as you can see, it's very confusing. If you could just show us the whole block with your building in it, scaled, that's what we're looking for. And we have gotten them before. I don't know how difficult it is to do, but I know many architectural firms can do this now. They can place the building in the streetscape.
We've seen that.
We have seen it, and that's what we're asking for. This is great, and, I mean, it's a beautiful location. I think it looks like a nice house. I also think it's large, but I think it's a nice design.
So, and I've done the streetscapes too. It seemed to me in this case that the adjacent buildings are so far away, it's not really a streetscape. And the one that is relative to this building is the one that is going to be right next door, that was approved for right next door.
Okay. I didn't understand that.
I think what you did there, going around and pointing out where those are was helpful, and it got close to the same thing as the streetscape. I think the reason we pay as much attention to that as we do is we've seen requests to put in 3+ story buildings, and next to it is a 1-story cottage, and the one next to that is a 1.5-story bungalow. And now you really have to ask the question, is this house so out of scale with the surroundings, that it's not appropriate? I think you've got a nice mix of the buildings around you, and some of them are, in fact, 3-story, which certainly helps the case that this is not sort of grossly out of proportion to anything around you.
At the same time, there are a lot of bungalows on First Avenue, so we have to be very careful about that.
Jake.
Okay, I take notice that along Beach Avenue, traditionally and existing, there are a lot of big commercial properties there, motels, and, it's kind of different than a side street. And I love the design that was presented in August. I think this is even an improvement on that, which is saying something, particularly with the red roofed rotunda up top and a cupola. It just really adds a lot to the streetscape.
Thank you.
I think the presentation here has shown that, first of all, I want to compliment you on the choice of the materials. They really appear to be very high quality and top rate. The design to me is really very nice, and it isn't really out of proportion with the neighboring structures. There's always a hope that when you have a street looking down on Beach Avenue, that people will get a view down the street, that you won't be blocking too much. And it's a large structure, but it really nicely fills the space. And you know, it's new construction, so you have a freer hand in terms of design. And I think the design is really first rate. I think it's a really good project, well presented. There may be some issues with respect to the placement of things. You did mention that you had landscaping that you were using to shield the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And that landscaping is on First, right?
Along First.
First.
And along the driveway.
But you do have a fence of some sort.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you know what? I didn't speak to the fence.
Yeah, you should help us out with how the pool is being shielded.
So I'll start on the left front corner of the house, and the fence style is a cedar picket fence. The fence going down the left property line and back to the garage building, the intention is to do a 6-foot-high fence, somewhat of a privacy fence. Then coming forward from the garage, we switched to a 4-foot-high fence because that continues into the front yard and down First Avenue, and we can't be more than 4 feet high in the front yard. And then returning back to the house to create this recreation yard, for lack of a better word. The arborvitae or laurels will be planted behind the fence to provide that screening. Then the fence goes to a 3-foot-high fence coming around a double gate and then coming around the front yard and back to the house. All the same style, just varying in height.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And I guess it's just a question of how much of the pool gets seen, and we usually have some discussion about vegetation and how well it's shielded, and I'll save that for further
I have
comments.
several comments about that.
Good, I knew you would.
Okay, great.
Mr. Carroll.
I'm really very pleased with it. It is big. I agree with those remarks. It is kind of off to itself. A lot of people are seeing it from the promenade and with its setback and the side. It's somewhat eclectic with a lot of different elements, which kind of goes along with our Victorian houses in town that look like the whole world of architectural design is appearing on one house. And this it's kind of fun, the way that they all come together on this as well. I agree with the other remarks. The fence that you're showing looks incredibly lightweight compared to the massiveness of the house. And I know that that's a wonderful fence company you're looking at, but if you look at some of those other designs, the little curly tops on this one and the very thin pieces don't really go along with the feeling of that house. So I would really urge you to look for something a little more massive and probably put it in with the 4x4s rather than anything too lightweight.
I would just, if I could for a second, were you proposing 4x4s for the fence? 'Cause-
I assumed that. I didn't say
Let me just make a
specifically.
suggestion.
Yeah.
House is really significantly massive. You might consider 6x6s.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, because those 4x4s are going to look pretty spindly,
Okay.
along with whatever the rest of the choice is. Yeah, and 6x6, as you know, isn't really quite 6x6, right? Okay,
Maybe a little more than 5.
sorry.
That's okay. I'm done.
Boy, it's hard to top what everyone else has said here. It's a beautiful home. It's a fine architectural design. It really fits well in the neighborhood.
He did a great job.
Oh, he certainly did. I like the way the pool's hidden. I think it's the new Cape May. I mean, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is 100 years later, that's all. It's nice. It's a very nice home.
I just want to comment one more thing, too. You're really putting real gas fixtures on the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's
So I would like to echo what my colleagues have said. Very nice job, beautiful design. However, there is one significant issue that I think is solvable, so bear with me. On page 45 of our standards, and we've run into this a number of times, therefore, I, as chair, am seeking consistency in how we review visibility of pools. And on page 45, it says that site elements such as decks, patios, and a bunch of things, but pools is on the list, should be located in a rear or side yard and not be visible from the public right-of-way. Well, you've got a challenge here, because you've got two front yards. So unfortunately, when you look back on page 12 of our standards, the definition of not visible is not able to be seen by a person standing in any public thoroughfare. Vegetation, seasonal foliage, and fencing are not considered, as they may be removed over time. So that raises an issue that we've had on a couple of projects recently. But with that said, I have a suggestion how you might be able to pull this off. It would require relocating both the pool and the garage. So I just did a quick little sketch here. If you turned that garage 90 degrees and put it right up against your 20-foot setback, and when I put my scale on this, because you need 10 feet between the garage and the house and 10 feet between any structure in the pool, I think it'll just barely fit. Actually, that would potentially even give you more parking area, and you could, it makes it actually easier to get in and out of the garage because you could do a three-point turn to get in and out. Therefore, the pool would rotate 90 degrees and set in 10 feet from the garage. The garage would completely screen the pool. You wouldn't be able to see it from the street.
Well, in terms of flow and use of space and sun and the use of the yard, it eliminates everything. It just creates
But it also may give
a pool
you, as
and
the
a-
owner, more privacy for your pool. Now, all I'm suggesting is, I'm not the architect, I'm not the designer, but if I'm going to ask for you and be adamant that you comply with our standards, the pool cannot be visible from First Avenue. How you configure that is up to you as the designer. I feel it incumbent upon me, if I'm making a requirement, to at least offer one suggestion of how you may proceed. Not mandating it, but the pool can't be visible from First Avenue.
Well, as the chair knows, I have
I know you
a few issues with respect to the absolute non-visibility issue here. I think that, that our standards in some ways overstep reality, which is to say that, it's true the foliage and a fence may be removed. They rarely are, and a significant fence is something that only gets replaced and never really removed to expose the view of the pool. I think that we have had occasions, and those occasions have been rare, but we've had occasions where we have approved the situation where a pool has been technically visible from the street, provided it has been adequately screened with substantial vegetation and substantial barriers, and that the homeowner has covenanted to maintain those barriers perpetually over time, so they're never removed. There may be a situation where we get around to discussing how those design standards should be interpreted, but I think we have allowed that to happen in the past. And I personally would be willing to look favorably on a substantial shield for the pool. I've said this before, and I think it's something that benefits the design. On the other hand, there's been a suggestion of rotating all these things, and you're...
Well, if I may, it's this very similar concept to my project at 15 Broadway, which pools in the side yard, screened with vegetation and fence, set back, but by your definition, it's clearly visible from the street, but it is screened.
Yeah, as I recall on that project, however, there was also a vacant lot next door, which would likely end up having a structure put on it, so that was a mitigating circumstance, if I recall that correctly?
No,
Wrong one?
They own the lot.
the pool is in that lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's another, other options would be, so we've had this come up where a landscaping berm with maybe a retaining wall or a wall that is up to eye height would also work. It's not a fence, it's a wall. So there are other options. So I'm just raising this because this has become a point of contention on other projects, and I think that it's incumbent upon us to be consistent in how we're reading our own standards.
Chairman, would it be advisable to raise that fence on First Avenue to 6 foot?
Not permitted.
It's a front yard.
You got a front yard
Yeah,
situation.
I understand that. Would that require a variance?
It
Well,
would.
Okay. I mean, wouldn't that resolve a lot of the problems? No.
Not by our definition of visibility.
Okay.
You can't do that. I have a suggestion. It looks like your yard is 20 feet deep, is that correct?
That's
Yes.
required.
Has to be, Judy.
Right, okay. I mean, is it possible to put another line of screening right here?
Yeah, we could,
Do you need vegetation?
Yes,
Yeah,
vegetation.
like another hedgerow.
So now you're going to, I mean, arborvitae's are, I don't know if that's
Or a
what you're
wall.
going to put in.
mean-
Well, a wall of vegetation here on the other side of the yard, and it still leaves you enough yard there, I
Problem is-
think.
Problem is that doesn't meet our definition of visibility as our own standards say.
No.
When you say wall, what are you envisioning?
So, you have, I'm trying to remember what you have as the foundation here. I mean,
It's brick.
Brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Brick.
breeze block.
yeah.
You mean here,
What about a
John?
brick wall?
Here,
Put a brick wall right there, that would do it.
right.
And the brick wall that could be 6 feet tall.
A brick wall with a limestone
Little
and
cap?
pots on the top with flowers.
We can talk about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So-
So that would not require reconfiguring the garage, as I was saying, because I understand exactly what you were saying, and it's not preferable. But you're so constrained here because you've got the 20-foot setback on two sides of your lot.
Yeah.
You've only got so much buildable area.
Right.
So let's just look at what that would look like.
And then your shrubbery doesn't have to be so tall then, you know? 'Cause
Yeah,
this
as
is a
long as the
really
walls-
long walk.
Just another thought about that, if you're going to put a wall in,
Yeah.
So you could actually even slope landscaping up to the wall so it didn't feel so high if
Right.
you're worried about a 6-foot-high wall.
and you can use the backside of it actually for a pool fountain or something
Yeah.
like that.
We were
That's what
talking
I
about
just
that.
said. I mean,
Yeah.
we too obviously
Yeah.
want privacy in our pool as well.
That would give you that privacy also. So
Yeah.
it's actually to your benefit in some ways that this is one of our requirements. Because it's not just I would say, the visibility of the pool, it's also the activity around a pool that in the historic district, we're wanting not to be visible from the public right-of-way. So if it's not visible at eye height with a wall, that's very different because that also reduces the noise and a bunch of other activation issues. So
And is it just the pool itself, or you need something wider than the pool?
no.
You're saying pool
so
activity.
If, for example, you, just for real kicks, if you were to extend a wall from the end of the house to the driveway, that would do it.
So,
Right along here.
so I'm thinking, if we,
There you go.
doing this on the fly.
Yep.
You know, if we had a wall, this isn't the scale, that extended, as you said, and then maybe built a couple of openings with gates, solid gates.
Be really nice.
Yeah, it'd be really
Yeah.
pretty.
It'd be very,
It could be
very,
a feature on the other side, and it would shield the pool.
so it would satisfy our requirements and also give you more privacy.
Absolutely.
So just to be clear, from the streetscape, if you were on First Avenue, first thing you'd see from the sidewalk is a fence, then arborvitae's, and then if you were able to see through the arborvitae's, you'd see a brick wall, not a pool.
Right. A very attractive brick wall.
Beautiful brick wall.
Right. there.
I mean, you know,
Yeah, in that case, you might not even need the fence.
the brick wall is providing
Oh,
you
yeah, well-
safety, and it's providing you the privacy, and it's providing you
We want the fence
blockage to
anyway.
make
Oh, you
the
want
pool
the fence
invisible.
Now, you're talking about putting it right behind the automatic pool cover?
No, just, it would extend,
Come
it would
out from the
extend,
house.
you know, north is
North.
up, so it would extend north from the back of the house to the driveway, right on the
In
setback.
line with the current
Okay.
setback.
Right.
Well, where it says line of automatic pool cover, but then we would just flip to the other side of the pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I also want to compliment you on a very comprehensive submission. You gave us everything we're looking for. So I would ask my fellow commissioners if we would want to entertain a motion, if it were final, because you're requesting final
Yes.
approval. if the only exception is the visibility of the pool, I would suggest we could approve final, conditional upon you coming back with a revised drawing depicting the screening via, however you choose to do that, for the review committee to look at.
And 6x6 posts.
And 6 by 6.
A more substantial fence with 6 by
I
6
don't know
posts.
what that means.
I do.
A 6 foot.
Well, I figured you did.
You know, the 6x6 post.
Okay.
It's a matter of getting your approval subject to a condition.
Right.
And the condition is what we've just discussed.
No, I
here.
understand. I just didn't know what a 6 by 6 is.
6 inches by 6 inches.
Oh, for the larger
post.
section.
Yeah, the new
Yeah.
ones.
The actual dimensions are 5.5 instead of 3.5.
Got it.
Yeah,
I like that. I like more substantial.
okay. Well, it's a pretty substantial house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is why that fence is going to look better without spindly posts.
Sounds good.
So if that's the case, I'll move to grant final approval with the following two conditions: 6 by 6 fence posts and some means by which to have the pool be not visible by definition from First Avenue, pending review by the review committee.
Could we just amend that to say that a brick wall be?
Well, I'm not sure that they want to do that. I don't want to put you on the spot for that.
I think that's what we want to do, but
Okay.
if
If you can
it's
design something
open,
else that's.
Yeah, it'd be a
It's
nice
it's
suggestion.
better to leave it
Right.
open in
As you
case
think about it, you
we
may
think of
discover something
better.
else,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I don't want to lock you in.
I only have a concern because that means that when it comes back to the review committee has to decide whether or not there's visibility, whereas we know with a brick wall or solid wall that it satisfies the definition. It's a lot of discretion in the
Well,
review committee.
It could be a,
Could we say a solid barrier?
a solid
6 feet
barrier
high?
such as a brick wall or other comparable, like that's an example of,
Yeah.
if you do that, you'll be able to meet the test, but if you find some,
If the mover will accept that as an amendment to his motion.
I will.
Then I think I've served the purpose.
So I think the revised motion is final approval with two conditions. One is 6 by 6 posts. The second is some depiction and inclusion of a solid barrier such as a brick wall or similar.
Having made that motion, I will second the motion.
John, I wasn't just suggesting that the posts be bigger on the fence. I was suggesting that the pickets also have the weight to it that goes along with the house.
Yeah, we definitely agree with that.
Yep.
yes.
Uh-huh.
We agree.
So revised fence with 6 by 6 posts and larger members.
Yes.
Yep.
Did you
More substantial fence,
designate a height for the wall?
6 feet.
It would have to be above eye height, that's all.
Okay, you might want to put that in too.
Yes, above eye height, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
But
Well, 6 feet is more
and how tall
definitive
did
than
you
eye
expect
height.
the
Yeah,
person to be?
because,
Those are the variances of height.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, typically,
normal
yeah.
6 foot.
If it doesn't have to be 6, it could be 5,
5 is permitted.
4.
Also have a line of sight.
Masonry dimension, 5'4", right? Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Wasn't there also one other provision that it would extend from the rear of the house to the driveway?
Yes.
Which is the only way, it's the only
Yep.
way you're going to shield the pool, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to reread this. Okay, so two conditions, is a more substantial fence, for example, 6 by 6 posts and other members. The second is a solid barrier such as a brick wall or something similar above eye height extending from the rear of the house to the driveway.
That sounds fine, yeah.
All right, so having made that, I will second a motion with that language.
Follow all that? Thanks, Lauren. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Pasagno,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Ms. Decker,
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mr. Testa,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Thank you for the great dialogue. too.
Beautiful home.
Appreciate
Good
it.
luck.
Thank you. Yes, it's great.
And welcome to Cape May.
Yeah.
They're already here.
Well, right, but now in
In a more prominent place.
a new location.
What unit are you at? 8, okay.
Okay, next applicant, please.
Yeah.
Hourahan at 1017 Lafayette Street. If you could, please state your name and your address and your role on the project, please.
Is this the good one, hopefully?
I
One
think
that's green
the
is good.
non-crackly one, yeah.
Adam Crossland, the project designer with AJS Design. My address is 565 Shumpike Road in Cape May Courthouse.
And do you have the owner's authority to speak on their behalf this evening?
Yes, they did send that to Lauren.
We do have that.
Great, thank you. The floor is yours, Adam.
Okay. I did print out, when we had met at the subcommittee last week, you had asked me to provide as many details on materials as possible. So I do have 13 copies here with the updated materials list.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
But it's the same as.
And I'd have two, please. Thank you. Okay, Adam, it's all yours.
Okay, so, this is a property, it's 1017 Lafayette Street. It's on the corner of Lafayette and Clay Street. We actually are not proposing too much to the project. I guess first things first, we can go through the drawings, which would be the 11 by 17s. The streetscape obviously is up on the top. The portion of the house that is in the photograph representing the existing dwelling is not really changing. What we are proposing to do is, you see there's a bow window with a brick facade on the left side of the house. We're proposing to remove that and put a second floor up above that portion of the house, which if you go to sheet HPC 2, which is the second sheet on the list, you'll see we've compared existing up top with proposed down below. So we're proposing to, on the first floor, there's just going to be a laundry room and a bathroom addition at the rear of the property. That's all that really is proposed to be changing on the first level. On the second level, it's a little more substantial. If you go to sheet HPC 3, right now, the wing on the left side of the house is just a single story. We're proposing to put a second floor up above that would house a bedroom and a bathroom. The laundry room and bathroom addition which goes out beyond that into the backyard, would just be a single-story addition. And you can see, as you go on to the next sheet, HPC 4, the existing and proposed elevation. So again, going over the front elevation, you'll see we're going to be removing that modern quad window with the stone wall, replacing it with more historically accurate double-hung windows, and adding a second floor above that area. There is a small proposed dormer addition to the rear of the property on the third floor. You'll notice on the right side elevation when you compare existing and proposed. The rear elevation, you'll see on the left side, there's really no change. On the right side, we're adding that second floor addition.
All done?
Yes, I can go down the materials with you.
You can.
So if you look at the updated materials list that I provided, the first sheet is kind of just an idea of the materials they're going to be using, which as far as roofing goes, we're going to be replacing the existing cedar shingle roof with a new cedar shingle roof. The siding that exists is a cedar clapboard. We're going to be replacing that with the same. I actually brought samples here. These are the siding samples. This Windsor board here would be all the trim. And these are the roofing samples. Yeah. Ray Hawthorne's going to be building this, and I think he's used these on similar approved projects throughout town. I'm sure you're familiar with them. Next in the materials list, I supplied details of the new Colby wood windows that we're going to be providing. I think it's the Heritage Series. I supplied a photo of the brick that we're proposing for the foundation, and I gave a sample of the lighting that we're going to be proposing, which would be Cape Cod Lighting Company.
Okay. Yogi, can we start with you?
Yeah, I just have one question. Is there a chimney that's being moved? Or,
The chimney will be remaining. There'll be no change to that chimney.
no change, okay.
Yep. There is a chimney, you can see it. I apologize, it's not shown on the rendering, but
Okay.
there will be no change to that chimney.
Okay, yeah, I saw it on the front, I didn't see it on the side. I have no other questions.
You have lots of shutters on lots of windows. Don't forget our rule that a shutter should be able to, or at least designed to close over the window. So
Not a-
when there's one shutter on one side, it should be a double shutter.
Double shutter.
But you have multiple windows in one place there that I'm not sure how you're going to do that, but that might be one place you don't want to try to have shutters. But in all those others, they should, if they're only on one side, they should look like they're going to fold out over the window.
Do you understand what he's saying?
I understand exactly what, I think they'll actually, a double shutter would fit on the side addition that sits in the back, so I have no problem with providing a double shutter on those. They could also.
By double, you mean a bifold?
Correct,
A
but they,
bifold.
exactly.
Yep.
And they will be Ray's done a lot of these on the houses we've done together recently, so they'll be full functioning shutters like you guys like to see. And that could definitely be a condition of approval. We'll make sure we provide that.
And are the windows that you suggested only for the new addition?
Pretty much for the new addition, if any of the windows are in too bad a shape, they would be replaced with, again, the Colby wood windows.
Okay.
They'd be historically
Same
accurate. to
sash
that.
design and everything?
Exactly.
Okay. I'm okay.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, too. I think the materials are adequate and appropriate. I think the addition is well designed to be both proportional, setback, and distinct, but yet complementary to the structure. So, and I'm not going to make any shutter speech because you've already made the shutter speech about
It was good, too.
proportionate and functional, and I know you'll do that. So, no, I have no further questions.
Okay, just two questions. I'd like to see perhaps a catalog cut for the windows.
So I did provide those.
Okay.
They're in the updated sheet I gave you tonight.
I know I see stuff that has like technical aspects to
You
it.
mean the drawings?
Like this,
Correct.
but I mean,
Oh, I'm happy to
looks like
provide that
something
as
for a
a.
builder.
So, I think Len, who's the sales rep for Colby, I think he's been before you guys before, so you should be pretty familiar with the Colby windows.
yeah.
Oh,
but-
we are. But what I think you're saying is a cut sheet showing the Heritage Series as
Yeah,
a
and
window
like,
with its
are
specs.
they exterior muntins, simulated divided light? Just a little more clarification there.
Happy to provide that
Sure,
as
and
a
that-
condition and come
Thank you.
meet on the.
And then one other question on HPC 4. On your proposed front elevation, it's difficult to tell. Is the ridge line on the addition subordinate to the main building?
It is. You can really see that when you go to HPC 5.
Okay.
On the proposed left side elevation. So it's about 6 inches lower than the main peak, but it sits so far back that it's going to look very much subordinate to the main.
Well, that
front
satisfies it.
elevation. Yeah. Yes.
I was over there in the dark looking around. But the
Great
addition I knew the original owners, not the original, but the owners very well.
Me too.
But that went up, and that's farther back than I remembered until I got there tonight and looked at it. But is the addition coming up more forward than that?
It's staying right in line with where that
Okay.
current stone wall is.
Okay.
And I'm sure you noticed when you were there, there's a big tree there.
Yes.
Which obviously I know that tree could disappear at some point, but the clients are hoping to protect and save that tree, which really hides that addition
Okay.
even more. Like you can see my streetscape picture, it's hard to even see because you see all the branches of the tree.
I trespassed.
Judy?
A couple comments. Are the existing shutters on the second floor louvered or paneled?
They are paneled shutters currently,
All of them?
correct.
Okay. Frequently, second-floor shutters are louvered, that's why I asked, but I see that they're, I think it looks like an improvement from the street. I was also a little concerned about the ridge line, because on HPC 1, it looks like the ridge line drops on the second floor of the addition. It also, HPC 4, in the proposed front elevation, it looks like the roof line drops. But then on HPC 5 and 3, the rear elevation, I'm a little confused about that one. I'm not sure where the chimney is there.
Yeah, I apologize that the chimney disappeared from the proposed front elevation. But the chimney is staying, and that can be on the record, that the chimney's not going anywhere.
Okay, so the roof line in the addition is definitely going to drop.
It's going to drop about 6 inches lower, and it sits back significantly from the main original building.
And that's, are you going to, is the front door remaining?
The screen door will be removed, and the front door will be restored.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick question. In the property report, it says that the shutters are wall-applied, three-panel wood shutters. So are you going to replace?
We're
them?
going to replace them with functioning shutters, all of them, yes.
I don't have any other questions. Actually, the addition stepping back, it seems to me to comply with everything that's on page 56 in the standards.
Does. So thank you, Adam, for coming and seeing us at the review committee and responding accordingly, and for the way you've presented this with existing and proposed floor plans and existing and proposed elevations right next to each other so we can see them.
My
Well done.
pleasure. I want to make it as easy as possible for you guys.
Well done. So I have nothing to add. It sounds like we can entertain a motion to approve this final project with the following conditions: that the chimney be depicted on the front elevation as staying, that you provide cut sheets for the windows, ensuring that they are exterior wood primed and simulated divided lights, a cut sheet for the new wood door, there's one new wood door, right?
Correct, in the back of the house.
And lastly, full width functioning shutters.
Those could be simulator or full.
They could be simulated or full. But since the Heritage Series,
Is basically simulated.
they're basically simulated.
Simulated.
Yeah, so the problem with any of these window companies is they have multiple versions of a series of windows, so we can't tell unless we have a cut sheet whether it's a Heritage clad or it's a Heritage wood primed exterior.
Understood.
So that's-
I do
we just
deal
need to s-
directly with the rep who knows what Cape May accepts.
All you need to do is give us a cut sheet with that specifically stated, because we always look for that.
I'll make sure you get that.
Great.
It's not a problem.
So would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll move to approve.
So.
Second.
All right, moved by Mr. Hammerin, second by Ms. Pasagno, with those 4 conditions.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Pasagno?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. So,
I have one more question. Just
Oh.
Very quickly. The landscaping plan for the new addition, are you just going to carry what's in front around to the side, or what's the game plan? You said there's a big tree going to stay?
There's no major changes to the landscaping proposed at this point. The clients are well aware that if they do propose any changes for that in the future, down the line too, they're probably going to want to put an accessory building out by the pool. they'll come with a separate application for that accessory building and the landscaping.
Great. So it looks like you're up next.
Correct.
So next application is for, I'm assuming it's Haja? Or Haja, okay, great. Haja at 1149 Lafayette Street.
All right, I did the same thing as well. I'm going to hand out these updated materials.
Please
list.
do.
Don't worry. I work in a high school.
If you could please introduce yourself, sir, and your name, your address, and your role in the project.
Anand Haja, owner, 1600 Arch Street, Philadelphia.
Okay, thank you. Sorry I mispronounced your name.
Oh, no, that's okay. Everybody butchers it. You did a good job.
We get it right the second time.
Okay, good.
You again, please. Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Okay. Adam Crossland, project designer with AJS Design, 565 Shumpike Road. Similar to the last application, I did give everybody an updated materials list, just to give you as much information as possible. First thing we can do is go through the design drawings. What we are proposing to do here is take this building, if you look at the site drawings, the existing and the proposed, the foundation is in very bad shape. So we are looking to slightly relocate the building on the lot, which would allow for a nicer ease of flow in and out of the driveway on the back, but it's very slight. We're just sliding the house over a couple of feet to make more room to get in and out of it. We are removing the existing added and enclosed front porch on the dwelling. We are also going to be, and we kind of talked about this in the subcommittee meetings, aligning the 5 windows across the front of the second floor, and now going to be you're actually going to see them on the first floor. Because this house, if you read the property report, it was 3 windows wide at one point with no front porch. They added another wing to it, and then enclosed the porch at that time. We're actually, if you look at sheet HPC 2, we're actually removing a first floor addition that's in the back of the house, so we're actually making the building a little smaller than it exists today. Again, when you compare the existing first floor with the proposed second floor, we are adding a small additional bedroom, however, on the second floor, and we are there's no major change to the third floor, although we are going to remove the ceiling and expose it, but it won't affect the exterior at all. Now we can go on to the elevations. I think this is a huge improvement from what's there. If you look at the proposed front elevation and compare it to existing, again, we're rearranging all the windows in the front to make them be much more symmetrical. We are going to be restoring the beautiful front entry door. We're removing the funky roof above the porch and removing the porch enclosure altogether. The 2 dormer windows are going to be restored and stay in the same location as they are. On the proposed side elevation, you'll see we are adding a small second floor above the first floor section, but then we're removing the wing at the back of the house that's currently a 1-story addition. You go to sheet HPC 4, again, you'll see the proposed and existing rear elevation, and then, of course, the existing and proposed left side elevation.
So on both this one and the last one, are there any zoning issues?
There's no zoning issues.
Okay.
Nope, everything will comply.
Kevin?
First of all, on the property report, this is a conservative structure, and it says that the conservative features are, it was basically trim and
No, it is not, as we went through this in the review committee. Yeah, right.
So it appears to me that removing that porch is probably, driving back to the original appearance of the house and cleaning up the offset of the windows on the second floor. I don't think that is the review of the house. There was also, in this case, here where it says something about the fence is probably not original and so forth, so, and I don't think I have any problems with the project, the way it's laid out.
And just to cover, we're not proposing any fence at this time. If we would ever propose a fence in the future, we'd obviously come back and get that approved, but there's no proposed fence at this point.
If it's okay, it looks a little,
Oh, the original building? It needs some help, so we're giving it the help it needs.
okay.
Looks a little spooky in that.
Yeah, it does.
Judy?
I believe that the changes you're proposing will alter the structure enough to make it non-contributing, and I'll explain why. It appears that you're attempting to create a colonial revival building out of a structure, a historic structure that's contributing, that has accretions over time, and they have gained value. Every accretion over time has a historic value. It's the story of the house. So I'm going to refer to page 13 of our book, which is the Secretary of Interior Standards. Number 2 says the historic character of a property will be retained and preserved. The removal of distinctive materials or alteration of features, spaces, and spatial relationships that characterize a property will be avoided, such as the alteration of the fenestration on the house. It destroys a character-defining feature of this particular house. Also, number 4, changes to a property that have acquired historic significance in their own right will be retained and preserved. And that brings me to the porch. So the porch was added a long time ago. This is not a new porch. It was probably added in the Victorian era. As you know, many houses in Cape May acquired porches. Colonial houses acquired porches. Page 32 says, removing a porch is not appropriate on contributing properties, period. Page 34.
Judy, can you turn on your mic, please?
Oh, sorry.
One reason why we don't hear you.
So page 34 also, the porch probably, if you want to open the porch up, I think that would be a great idea, but I can't support the change in the fenestration of the building or the removal of the porch. I think as a preservationist who used to review buildings for the state, this would not be a contributing building with these changes, so I could not vote in favor of the project as presented. Thank you.
I think the history report really doesn't spell out as to when that porch was put on the building.
Yeah, we're all looking.
But from, looking at it, to me, it looks like it's something maybe in the 40s or just by the type of windows. And additionally, you've also testified that this house originally was 3 windows across, so it was doubled.
It's been changed many times.
So in that regards, it was probably added sometime after the house itself was expanded and doubled. When I look at this, currently it looks kind of like a hodgepodge lodge, and in my opinion, I think it's been cleaned up, and it's, whether or not we're describing the true history of the building, it is a very clean project, and I think it fits in very nicely with the streetscape.
What is our goal?
Jim?
I have to go next?
Yep.
Okay, first question. What happened to the shutters? From A to B? I mean, is there a reason why you didn't include shutters in the redesign?
We just didn't want to be locked in because we hadn't picked the type of shutter or decided if the owner's here with me. He hasn't decided what he wants to do as far as shutters, no shutters. So I didn't want to have to be coming back and forth here to you. So I'm like, if we can get it approved without shutters, if he decides in the future to add shutters and we have the exact style shutter we want to add, we would certainly come back and present the shutters at the time.
Sure, but there may be some of us who think that going without shutters is not a good idea, and that it might make a difference in the way people view the project. I would suggest that you could seriously consider retaining shutters, and if you want to pick a particular design and a particular shutter, one can do that later. But I mean, I would support an application here that retains shutters. But to address some of the more significant things that were said before, you know, there are additions and things that happen even during the period of significance, which are, I think, mistaken. And I think the porch is probably one of those things. We don't know when it was added on. It wasn't original to the building. And you know, even if it's added on and it's bad, I don't think it's our duty to preserve things that may be significantly bad as opposed to just significant. So I'm not troubled by the removal of a porch, even though there's language that says that, you know, porches should be preserved. Some porches should not be preserved, and in my view, this porch is one of them. So I don't have an issue with the porch situation. And frankly, if you consider how the house was built and added on to, the fact that it resulted in windows that don't line up symmetrically, again, to me, that's another bad thing. I don't think a structure loses its historic.
Our goal here is to correct some of the wrongs that, like, somebody wasn't thinking, we need more space, they put an addition on the building.
And I'm not sure who measured what when, but it seems to me that the eye is, the eye thinks of those fenestration areas as just badly done. And so I think making them symmetrical is an improvement to this. So I'm generally in support of the project as you've designed. I don't have a problem with the changes in back and that sort of. I think you've improved the facade of this and you've corrected a historical accident.
Thank you. And if you look at the two side elevations, I think we've kind of done the same thing. They actually removed quite a few of the original windows from the exterior, and we're bringing them back. So I think the proposed looks much more historically accurate than the existing where they just.
I mean, it will be up to the next evaluator to decide, you know, whether, excuse me, to decide whether or not this structure loses its contributing status. But I don't think what's being done as a result of this project is deleterious to that. So,
I do have a question for you about the shutters.
yeah.
Where did you see that there were already
I'm
shutters?
sorry, I thought the original one.
No, there aren't.
Then I'm mistaken.
Yeah, no, this was without shutters.
Okay.
Well, on the second floor existing, there's shutters.
On the front elevation.
Yeah.
Front, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw them somewhere, John.
Somewhere, okay, got it.
But they're not on the house now.
I-
They exist.
Yeah, sometimes I just hallucinate, but there are shutters in the existing front elevation of this house. as
So
shown
that's
on-
what's so odd. It shows in the elevation, but not in the photograph of the house. So are there shutters there now or not?
So the house was renovated in right before you bought it, and they added shutters.
So, but those are just paste-on shutters, right?
Yeah, the client actually purchased it, Mr. Moloch owned the house, I believe, and they purchased it from him. And at one point, they added shutters.
Swing that around to me, John.
But yeah,
So
when
the shutters are just stuck on.
Correct.
Yeah.
They're-
So I
Are they
don't think-
vinyl or are they wood?
Well, it doesn't matter, they're not
Yeah,
here in
I
the
mean-
property.
That's right, they're not here in the property
All right,
report.
so Adam, I apologize because I was looking at your drawing as opposed to the picture of the
Well,
house.
and if you look at,
Yeah.
if you look at the streetscape
Yeah.
photo, there are actually shutters on the building. They were
Yeah.
added since that.
And I will stick with the idea that I think shutters improve this building and don't destroy its contributing nature, but I don't find that relevant to approving this application.
They'll definitely be highly considered. We just hadn't made our mind up.
I got it.
100% on them.
I got it. Thank you.
Yep. Tom?
This is actually a very nice federal period house, and we don't have many in town, so you know, some of the things we're pushing, like shutters, really weren't as common in the federal area.
Right.
But the balance in this is, and federal houses didn't generally have porches, and with the proximity of this house on Lafayette Street and the condition of the porch and the roof of the porch convinces me that that was put on. And I've been inside that in that porch, and it's a dump.
It was an antique store years ago. When I was little, I used to run around.
It was actually the residence of the proprietors of the antique store that was located at Ocean and Hughes, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But there were antiques inside, in the porch, too. Yeah.
So I am for the plan. The front door, now, are these side lights and transom that are framed around the door?
Correct, that all exists and it's going to be
Okay.
restored.
And then the door is all wood? It's
Correct.
not glass?
No, it's a solid wood door, correct.
Solid wood door, that's very typical. And the panels and transom are wood too?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, that's all very proper. So, yes, I do not have problems with the porch for a lot of reasons, and I think it's a pretty darn good plan.
Thank you so much.
I agree with Mr. Carroll. I think this was a federal house that was bastardized into being what it is now. I mean, that's, when you look at it, if that's, I owned a federal house, it was very, very old. This is so typical, the windows, the fireplaces, the chimneys, the dormers. This is a great project without that porch. It's nice. It's really nice. You did a great job.
Thank you.
So I have one question, and that is, the front door as depicted on the rendering on HPC 1 is different than what is depicted on proposed front elevation on HPC 3. So which is it?
We're going to follow the drawing. The rendering is just that. It's kind of like an idea of what the building is going to look like. The drawing will be followed.
Okay, so just to reiterate what Tom asked, what's depicted on the front elevation drawing number 3 on HPC 3 includes a transom and side lights with a
Correct.
solid wood panel door, correct?
So, no, actually, did I misunderstand you then, maybe? So, it's columns around the door, that's not side lights.
Yeah, columns.
Oh, they're
Yes.
columns.
It's a portico with columns.
Correct. There is a transom window, but that's all columns around the door, and that's
Okay,
gonna-
so that's actually existing?
Correct.
You're not
That's
doing
hidden
anything
behind
to
that
it?
porch. We're going to be restoring it.
Just restoring, okay. And is it a new front door?
No, we'll restore the door that's there.
It's a solid wood panel door?
Correct.
Yeah? Okay, great. So I agree that a federal house like this would never have had a porch
No,
like this,
never.
particularly with a hipped roof like this. Just, it seems completely inconsistent with the original house, so I have no problem.
How tall are the ceilings in the house? Are they?
They're 9 foot on the first floor, which is pretty generous for
Yeah,
a house of
for a
this style,
federal
they're
house, yeah.
usually. And the second floor are low, that's why we're removing the attic
Yeah.
to make it feel more spacious up there. But again, that's not affecting the exterior.
So what's really interesting is the original house was a 3-bay house, now it's a 5-bay house, right? And that's what's even more odd is that the 3-bay house would have had a single dormer right essentially in the middle with the door on the left. So it's very odd. So I think what you're doing with this is restoring it, quote unquote, not by the definition of restoration, but restoring it in the abstract sense to what it really wants to be.
How the addition should have looked back when they did it, however many years ago.
Agreed. So I'm fully supportive of it, and I think what we're hearing is that perhaps somebody would entertain a motion for approval with the following conditions, though. We still need the same things we needed on the last project.
No problem.
Is we need cut sheets of the
Windows.
depicting that they are exterior primed wood. And are there any new doors in this one? There is. There's one in the back.
There are, but if you look in the updated packet I gave you, there's actually a drawing of those doors.
Yes, but it doesn't tell us what the materials are.
Oh, they'll be wood. But I can get you the,
Need a manufacturer's
understood,
cut
I'll
sheet.
get you. I think it's Rem Window Company.
Fair enough, but what we need is
I'll get you.
manufacturer's product data, AKA cut sheets, of depicting what the door is and what it's made of, okay?
Yep, already had this conversation with the the general contractor, so he'll provide that. I believe it's Rem All Wood Window Company, but I'll get you the spec sheet.
Other than that, I think those are the only conditions, cut sheets for the windows and doors, because I think that Jim has retracted his request for shutters.
Well, it's not that I've retracted, I just will support it without the shutters.
okay, great.
I still think they don't look bad with shutters.
I'll make the motion.
Yes.
I'd
John.
like to add one more provision, too.
Please.
And that, because we're basically approving the existing front door sight unseen and that it's enclosed in the porch, I think we should have a photograph of that to see if it's more appropriate for the period or it was a later on addition.
Very good. So would you make the motion then, please?
Can I add one too? Since we are agreeing to remove the porch, you really need a landscaping plan for that. The whole front of the house is going to change, so there should
So are
be a-
you proposing then that we consider approving this for conceptual, because we're now up to at least 4 things that we need?
I'd be okay if the plan came to the review committee. Shouldn't
Everybody else
delay
okay with that?
Sure.
I'm fine with
I
it.
mean, the front door is really just like a cut sheet, except
Yeah.
we have to do with a photo.
This is the door that's being restored.
Okay, so,
Yeah, we'd just like to know if it is not something from the 1960s.
okay, so I think the conditions are cut sheets of the windows and doors, photograph depicting the existing
Front door.
conditions of the front door.
And we'll
landscape
certainly
plan.
provide a landscape plan.
Yep.
That's not a problem. We're going to do the front up very nicely, so we have no problem sharing that with you.
Great. Is that the motion you're making?
Yes, it is.
I'll second that.
I have a quick question about that, though. The landscaping plan, is that something I can come back during the construction process to present to you? Because we might not make a mind up with that before we submit for,
No, we need that before we can
oh,
grant.
that's why I'm asking, so I'll make sure we get it together ASAP. Okay.
Great.
Many,
Okay.
many colonial.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Do I hear a
I
second?
second. I'll
Moved by Mr. Stevenson, second by Mr. Kurtz. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Basagnum,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Decker, Ms. Decker,
No.
Mr. Hammerman,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mr. Testa,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, yeah. Nice job, Adam.
Okay. Next on our agenda is Anderco at 815 Columbia. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Welcome.
No, I said the reason is because it's up higher.
If you could, please, state your name, your address, and your role on the project.
Ted Anderko, 815 Columbia Avenue. I'm the owner of the property.
Okay. The floor is yours, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you for hearing me tonight. I was here several years back and got conceptual approval.
Hey, guys, could we please hold conversations? Thank you.
All right, I was here several years back, got conceptual approval, had to go to zoning, got that relief. COVID and other family-related issues kept me from building. I went back, got zoning approval again a couple months back, and so now I'm here tonight to see if I can get a final approval. With the original submission, the streetscape, et cetera, was all good, but Mr. Carroll caught me on the windows. So I've cleaned up the prints, taken off AZAC and the Anderson windows, that it's all gone. So now what I have is a project that is all wood windows and cedar siding, wood trim around the windows, and cedar roofing. The only thing that is at all not wood would be the gutters, and those are half-round gutters as are on the house right now.
Okay.
I'll take questions. Yes.
Well, that was short and sweet.
Hopefully it's that short and sweet.
So let's start on the other side here. Yogi, could you?
Yeah, the only thing that comes to my eye right away is reuse the tulip railings. I don't know.
The house has tulip railings since 1961, I believe. is when it was built.
Yeah.
And it was known as the Tulip House. in Cape
Yeah,
May.
I just, myself, I just don't think they're appropriate for that lovely house.
And every time we're sitting on the porch and hear the tour bus go by, they talk about the only place where tulips bloom all year long.
Okay. All right. I'm going to reserve some comments so I listen to the rest of my colleagues, but that's my That's what jumps out at me at first, John.
Mr. Carroll.
Actually, the design of the tulips really doesn't bother me. It's sawed ornamentation, and every carpenter tried to make sure he never copied anybody else, which makes every house different. And lots of times, particularly when you have barge boards climbing up into the peak of a house, you know, it's done to make it look like a vine climbing up into it. So flower motifs were certainly very common in wood trim. I haven't seen that particular design in many places, and I do a lot of snooping around other Victorian towns. But I think it's a nice addition. I have no problems with the plan.
I guess that makes me next.
Yes.
Okay, so I would point out to my colleagues that, and I personally think the tulips are unique, if not unique, very rare, and I think they add to the house rather, because, as you said, people notice it, people approve of it, people praise it, and I would also point out that they actually are in the property report when it was prepared. So this building is found to be contributing, and the evaluator had those tulips right in front of them when they did it. So the continuation of that is no problem at all.
Jake.
I meant to say also praise for your. I know I thought I was finished, but I'm not. Also, it just occurred to me just to praise you on the thoroughness of your materials. Thank you. Sheet. It's really very explanatory and full. Thank you.
You had 3 years to think about it.
And they're beautifully done. Sorry, Jake.
I don't know whether I didn't receive a complete packet or not, but I found it, now, what is the scale of your addition? How many square feet is that?
Oh, I don't know precisely, but about 900 square feet, I believe.
Okay, because on page A1 and A2, all I have is just proposed elevations. And there's no existing whereby you can look at it and see how it fits in. Yeah, I mean, all it's showing here is proposed on A1 and A2, and I don't see similar elevations that would show.
I thought I saw you.
Yeah.
You are right,
That's
Jake.
in this section. That's in this section.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
another.
and again, that's
Did you not
for
get
like,
this?
what I'm talking about from the streetscape, what the
You're
exterior.
looking
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Is this, we're calling it revised? Is that what this is?
It's on the-
Guess I'm not done.
This is part, and this is the other part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, but generally, you know, there'll be, see, like, maybe like dotted lines, or it's, that area shaded.
That,
I'm sorry, did you show me the same thing that you just showed Jake?
Do you have these, Jake, do you have this?
Here, I'll
Jake?
give you a pen.
Because it's called
No,
revised.
I want to see exactly.
Revised elevations or floor plans?
Floor plan.
There's no side-by-side, is what you're saying.
Guys.
Oh, that area.
Existing elevation.
No,
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'm mistaken. I thought they were all.
okay.
They were all existing. They're all proposed
Right.
without existing. Oh,
Right,
You guys want to take a look at that.
absolute.
okay, thank you.
I understand it that way. Let me ask a sort of different
yeah.
question. Is this?
Okay.
Well, we're going to probably need to go back and revisit
Go
this.
around again, so-
okay.
Mr. Andico, here's the issue. It's unlikely that we're going to be able to assess this evening because one of the things we need is the ability to see existing elevations and new elevations. When, unfortunately, it appears from these drawings as if much of this is existing and most of the mass of this is new, particularly with the left side elevation. The only reason I can tell that is from the floor plans. So the only way we can really assess whether it's appropriate or not is to be able to see what's existing and then what you're proposing and compare those side by side.
Okay, give me a second here. Because these drawings were part of the original submission.
Some of us, including myself, unfortunately mistook what I saw as the existing. and they are proposed. I see that, yeah, yeah. One of the things that for those of us who don't read these professionally find very helpful is to have two sets of the elevations, and in fact, we require that, a before and an after.
Mr. Anico, this is a perfect example of what the board's looking for.
Yeah.
You can see an existing, and then what they're proposing to do on the other side, or the same side, so that the board can look at, okay, that's what is here now, and that's what will change. So that immediate side-by-side comparison is what the board is looking for.
From an old submission, it still shows here's what it looks like. Here's the from before. Would that satisfy it? That was submitted with the bring this around. This shows existing, with the stairs and kitchen that's there. Yeah, they were done by.
Yeah,
So
this,
here's the
this was,
This was part of the 2019 submission.
yeah, but I don't think we have that in it, but.
No, I know, but I don't need it. I can see
No.
right now that this just bulges right along around the top and then back.
Let's try to work with it. It's all hidden in the back, you know. It is-
Look at the facade. Look at the facade. Look at that. That's all.
Please. Yeah.
You got it? Oh, you see it.
Well, of course, but yeah, and what I'm trying to state here, guys, is I don't think we can assess this evening because we can't see what's existing versus what's new.
Yeah.
And Mr. Anderco, I think what the problem with that, and I think what we're hearing from the commissioners is there's some concern that the addition is massive compared to the size of the existing house. And our standards are pretty clear on that it has to be subordinate to and differentiated from whatever's existing, because you have a contributing house. So it's why one of the questions that was asked was, how many square feet is the existing house? How many square feet are you adding? Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Anico, can you just use the microphone? I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to confuse you, but the conceptual review, and you said you received conceptual approval in 1999?
2019.
2019. Whew, yeah, that's a little better. But, yeah. So it's the reason why we don't have any of those drawings, because that was 6 years ago, and those approvals expire in 2 years.
I understand that.
Yeah. So what I'd like to propose is that you consider, we can either continue having this conversation, and I think it's going to be a challenge for us, or we consider asking you to table this and resubmit it with a full set of documents that include existing and proposed, knowing that I think we still ought to have some comments from folks who can, as much as they can, comment on the size and differentiation of the addition relative to what's existing. So does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so Jake, you were asking questions, and we'll come back to you guys, because, yep, please continue.
That was basically it, just needed a full set of elevations, existing and proposed, because particularly just from a streetscape, we have to see what it's really gonna look
Well,
like.
and he has them. Here's the existing right here.
Now we do have
Now we
them.
have them, yeah.
And I mean, no, that was from 2019, if nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed
I mean,
yet.
I'd be willing to accept that, but then again, we haven't had time to really, give it a look over.
And the other issue would be really helpful is if they were at the same scale, because this is half the scale of these. So it's hard to be able to look at the drawing and say, all right, well, that's that big and that's that big.
This is what he-
So I can say that I think the concern that you're going to hear, I don't want to speak for everybody, so I won't. Never mind. Judy?
I'm also confused. The architect is not someone I don't think is familiar with our agency. I would suggest maybe that.
Is there a microphone?
Standards. One thing I would point out is your roof line really should not match the existing. It needs to come down a little on your addition, and you'll see that in the standards. I think this is the addition. Is this the addition?
Yes.
Okay. The roof line is required to drop on your addition, and also, as was previously reported, it has to be smaller than the existing house. And that's the only comment. And it's a really charming house.
I'm not sure you could do anything with that roof line without creating a
Well,
real-
the standards say you must be able to differentiate your addition from the original structure. So it would be hard to do that if we were looking at this.
Actually, it wouldn't be that hard. You could simply drop that ridge just a little bit, and that's all you would need to do
Just
on the addition part. But that's only one issue, unfortunately. Because I'm now looking at these and imagining that they're at the same scale, this right side elevation, there's more mass to the addition than there is to what's existing.
Right, could you show me what you're looking at there? Just hold it up.
Well, I can't because they're not
got
at
them
the
at two
same
different scales.
scale. And
John, would a Tuesday morning meeting help?
a Tuesday morning meeting would really help.
Did it once, but I can do that.
So, do we have any openings tomorrow?
I can't do it
We
tomorrow.
can't do tomorrow. Well, unfortunately, the only reason I was trying to get you in tomorrow is because we're not having a meeting next Tuesday before
Well,
Christmas.
All right, I could come tomorrow, and because I'll just change what I have, I'll move it back.
Well, the
What
thing-
time would it be tomorrow?
Do we have any openings tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd have to check in the office, but we do have availability tomorrow.
Okay, so we don't know what time slots though, right?
No, I don't know at the moment.
So what we could do,
Can I show you this? This is existing dormer roof line. And you,
well, here's what I'm going to suggest. You can,
Yeah.
but
tomorrow,
if you came tomorrow, we could probably work this out with you.
okay?
So what I'd like to ask you to do for tomorrow, if you have the capability to do this, if not, we'll figure out another thing we could do, is either blow this up to twice its scale so that the drawings of what's existing and new are at the same scale, or reduce this to half the scale so that it's the same.
Yeah.
We need them at the same scale.
I'll figure that out.
And we can chat through this tomorrow, and we can probably give you some, I would say, some helpful direction about how you may be able to be compliant with our standards and still do most of what you want to do. Would that be a reasonable way to proceed?
Yes, I'd like to continue with some
We
of the other
can.
stuff,
We
make sure.
absolutely will.
Yeah,
So-
that's a big thing that we need discussed. and-
Okay, so tomorrow, what would be a safe time, Kevin, would you say? Because if we have somebody coming at 9 and 9:30. Well, would 10 o'clock work for you tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
So can we slot him in at 10 o'clock, and if there's somebody else here, we can move folks around if we need to?
Yeah, because then I could push back the meeting I have 2 hours from here and probably get that all done too.
Oh, well, we could do another thing. We could meet at 8:30 if that would be better for you.
That's up to you, if you guys would like. I don't want to trouble you and have you.
So
I can do 8:30, I can do 10.
10 would be better.
10 it is.
It might take a little longer, yeah, okay. So let's continue our discussion here with comments from folks, but let's plan on meeting tomorrow at 10. And I think that what we're asking, if you would be willing to table this application,
Indefinitely and waive the time for decision, so the board doesn't have to make a call on a truncated timeline, and that'll give you the opportunity to have those conversations, come back with a revised submittal, and then we can come back for a final.
What is the timeline that you have to make decisions?
45 days.
45.
So
Yeah, so we're going to miss it. So then January would be the next meeting,
yes.
and I would be on that agenda?
Could be,
potentially,
potentially, as long as you get your application in.
if you
The
have the
changes, I
conversation,
get the
revised
changes.
submittal, yeah.
Really, the important part is getting the changes right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so missing a meeting is not as important as getting something that will be
Right.
approved.
This
I
keeps you
think.
in queue, too.
I understand it. I'm a developer builder, so I know exactly that's why I asked how many days. So I'm good with that.
Great.
Okay.
So
I'd
let's
like-
still go around the room and hear comments of what you can comment on based upon what you understand currently, because that'll give us some direction tomorrow morning to speak with him as well. So if you have any comments, let's just continue. Judy?
She's commenting.
You did already, right?
Yeah, I'm very glad that you're doing, I had said, right before Judy said to Kevin, let's do it Tuesday morning, because I don't want it to come back not clarified as it is now.
Right.
And that could happen, because the architect may not be as familiar with our standards. So I think that if you come tomorrow morning, that would be really the best choice.
He's familiar, he's done other stuff.
Oh, okay.
Kevin?
He's less active these days because he's semi-retired, but, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I just have a couple of, one thing on the positive side, actually, the project seems to bring, well, actually, no, I'm sorry, I'm off one.
You turned your microphone
I was
on,
also,
please.
Kevin, could you turn your microphone on, please?
yeah, I think it really just comes down to, I have as big as life here too. You need the proposed elevations, because it's hard to see the one from the other. I think what this is really going to come down to is the elevation of the addition such that it's overshadowing the front portion of the house. And that's the piece we're going to have to try to tear apart tomorrow in the.
So the character, you don't have a problem with?
No, I
just the
don't.
Scale?
In fact, actually, some of the parts of the project seem to be bringing it into better compliance with the property report. So I think there's some positives on this. And I think you asked a question of, is either or on the lighting plan? And to me, both of those looked pretty good. I didn't see a problem with either one of those.
Yeah, just after the meeting, the Tuesday meeting, I was like, well.
No, we can
these
take a
two
look
are
at them tomorrow too,
satisfactory
but
to us.
they looked pretty good. Both of them looked actually pretty good to me.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, I do want to say something more, and it doesn't involve tulips. The words I would use are massivity and complexity, and I think, and from my standpoint, when I look at what you're seeking to do, in addition to make the property useful and to give you more living space, improve living space, all fine. But when I look at a property and its front facade, and I see that being massively altered, that really gives me a big problem. I'm less concerned with sides than I am with the front, the immediate streetscape, but I am concerned with the overall size of an addition relative to the original structure.
So he's not really changing the front facade,
No,
but the addition is
Back, but big.
much bigger than,
Back.
it's recessed.
Yeah, but seeing it
It
is
extends
my
on both
problem.
sides of the house.
Correct.
Yeah,
We can talk about this tomorrow.
right. So you'll hear more of it from a specific.
I'll get the square footages too.
Yeah,
It's
if
not
you could,
that
That would be
massive.
really helpful.
What looks massive right now is the roof that she's.
Yeah, and but also, that way, we can also tell in elevation what you're demolishing and what you're keeping. It's hard to discern that right now because all we're seeing is proposed elevation. We see it in the plan, but it doesn't show us what that looks like in elevation currently. So we can talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm in line with everything that's been said.
Do you have any other comments?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Some of us like,
starting to
some of
like
us
the
like
tulips now.
tulips.
Yeah.
What's that?
Some of us like tulips.
I'll make the motion that we table this.
Can we go
Oh,
further?
sorry.
First?
Yep.
The windows, they're Geldwin Sightline all wood windows.
Yep.
I looked at the spec sheets. Oh, I mean, I was like, don't you have more? This is 84 lumber. And as I said, I'm a builder. There's nothing on the spec sheet that says no vinyl. It's the marketing materials I turned in that says all wood. And from what I was hearing earlier tonight, that's really,
Yeah, here's the thing, with contributing houses, and there are at least 4 window manufacturers that produce the appropriate type of window. Geldwin happens to be one of them. And the requirement is that they be all wood and not clad with either vinyl or aluminum.
Or aluminum.
And the exterior material is simply a,
wood.
it's wood that's just primed.
It's what the stuff I turned in says.
Fair enough.
all
Okay,
wood.
great.
Because I looked at the cut sheets, I'm like, there is nothing here that says all wood, no vinyl, whatever.
You gotta be careful with the simulated or full divided.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, I was gonna say, I'm looking at 7/8 to an inch
So,
buttons.
let me just point this out.
Okay,
Geldwin's Sightline wood windows, some of them are clad.
yes, they are.
Correct.
But it's the second page or whatever, it's.
Yep,
all
it says
wood.
real wood windows. Yep.
All wood, yep.
Yep, yep.
I understand.
Got
I
it.
also understand that if I try to put that aluminum clad in, you'll catch it during construction, then there's a big problem.
Then you got a
Yeah,
much
don't
bigger
do that.
problem. Then you,
And I want to take a little credit for talking too much in 2019, when I said I want to use Anderson 200s, and
Yeah.
Mr. Carroll was like, no, you have to use 400 because they're all wood, and I'm like, no, they're not. You
Yeah,
can do that now."
not anymore.
not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
But,
You don't forgive and forget, do you?
Motion has been made
so- and then
and
it's
seconded?
the
Okay.
Maybach, all wood.
yes,
and
it's
the-
fine.
All the other stuff is good.
Yes,
That's what I'd like to at least
So-
be sure before I leave.
it's hard,
And we'll table it, but.
yeah, it's hard to assess that when you say all else is good, because the primary issue is the scale of what you're proposing, and we can talk that through tomorrow,
Okay.
okay? But I think we can come up with a solution together, collectively, based upon some recommendations that will give you what you need and also satisfy or comply with our standards,
Okay.
okay?
Let's hope so, right?
Okay, so I have a motion on the table or a motion to table this, seconded by Mr. Hammerin. We have a roll call vote, please?
John for the next.
Mr. Carroll?
Mr. Carroll?
Oh, yes, yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Ms. Pasagno?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Anderco.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you in the morning.
Yes. thank
Stay warm.
I turned the heat down.
And set your
I
alarm.
got to turn it back up.
Yeah. Not,
Hey, thank you for your time tonight.
oh, yeah. Thank you, I get it, friend. Okay, our next application is Waxman at 931 Corgi.
Mr. Chairman, I have to recuse myself. I am a neighbor.
Mr. Waxman, welcome back.
It's always a pleasure to be last.
So let me just apprise everybody.
You know, I'm okay with it because this is sort of my Cape May speed anyway. With
It
the rest
has
of my
been said
life
that,
around the Philadelphia region, it's a different pace and a different demand, so it's very educational.
So let me just apprise everybody of Mr. Waxman's, I would say, diligent attendance twice since our last meeting at our Tuesday morning meetings, coming back and gaining more and more clarity and providing more and more clarity. So with that said, Mr. Waxman, if you could please tell us your name, your address, and your role in the project, we can proceed.
Still Gary Waxman, owner of 931 Corgi Street.
Great. Floor is yours, sir.
Okay. This is an application for final approval of a woodshed construction, outdoor wooden shower enclosure construction, and installation of wooden fencing. Behind, the page behind the application itself, I've provided a little bit of a memo and a timeline of the history, which really goes back to the summer of 2024. Mr. Becker, would you like me to walk through this, or?
So I don't really think that's necessary. You did a very nice job, I think, in that document, mapping out the long process that you've been through and where we currently are. Essentially, what we're looking at right now is limited to the new wood shed on the footprint of the old demolished shed, the wooden shower enclosure, and a new fence. That's it.
That's it.
Okay. So, Kevin, have any comments?
The shed is not a contributing structure or anything like that, so I think it's a straightforward replacement. It is a contributing house, so we have to be, somewhat careful with that. The only thing I would say is, and I think it's noted that the shed has to be, constructed essentially with the same materials as the house itself. That means solid wood siding, what the house itself. Same roofing materials as on the house itself, and same plastic on siding, and same with solid wood windows.
So I would like to point out that sheet number 14 specifically states that he will be installing prime spruce beveled clapboard style siding of cedar on the shed, which is perfectly acceptable.
Matches the house. Yep.
Great. Great. B.
No questions. Thank you for your perseverance.
No comments, ditto.
Looks good. I'm ready to approve it as submitted.
I'm ready to.
Well, so am I. So let's have somebody make a motion, please.
I'll move that the application before us for final approval be approved by us as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Testa, seconded by Ms. Decker, that final approval as submitted.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Ms. Basagno?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Hammerin?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Point out it does pay to come to the Tuesday session.
Yep.
Mr. Testa?
Serving.
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes, Mr. Waxman, you're done with us.
For
I
now.
would say I'm going to miss everyone, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to see some of you again.
You know, I understand if you sign up for the Tuesday courses, they give a discount for multiple attendance.
Yeah.
Those and the defensive driving courses, they're going to require. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. So, open it up for public comment. I see nobody in the audience from the public, unless Mr. Waxman would like to make a comment. Okay. So this will close the public portion of the meeting with regard to applications. A couple things to discuss. We had a brief presentation today. It was about 25 minutes of presentation and half an hour of asking questions from the Columbia Capstone folks. Tom was present, as was Lorraine, as was Janice. Tom, do you have any comments about what you saw today?
I think that the program that they have presented is really what the city engineers and the employer, designer should be looking at. It really didn't come right down to them going and looking at other communities like ours with similar problems and seeing what they've done. I had a feeling that might have really helped us. I mentioned to them, like Newport. I also should have mentioned Wildwood Crest, Annapolis, Key West. I mean, there's so many towns out there that have this similar flooding problem, and I think there probably is somebody that could be putting together what has worked where. And we didn't really get anything like that. They're not reaching out like that. They're going back to the textbooks and seeing what the pros say in general to do without getting right down to what our problems are.
So with that said, I have a somewhat different take on what I saw today, and that is that they're primarily proposing a much more comprehensive process. Rather than giving us solutions, the first is to get some data and to really have data so that we can make informed decisions that are not fact-free decisions by doing things like flood modeling, which seems to be a primary necessity in order to begin making some decisions in three ways. One is large-scale infrastructure. The second is natural ways of increasing resilience, and third is small scale at the individual homeowner's level. So the first thing that they're proposing, which I think is spot on, is an interdisciplinary agency or committee, I don't know what the right term is, specifically focused on climate resiliency for the entire town, likely being populated by members of all the land use development groups, such as us and zoning and Public Works and Environmental Commission, in order to then procure the professional services of a consultant to do things like flood modeling, which is the only way you can really determine what kind of things need to happen. They did make some suggestions without over-specificity. For example, one thing that has worked in other locations are pumping stations. The idea of how big they are, how many there are, and where they are, we can't determine that until we do some flood modeling. Other than that, I thought that given the time frame they had, I mean, they really only had 2 months to do this. And what they produced, I think, is hard to judge right now because we didn't see the report. The report will be coming, I believe, later this week?
Didn't they say about a month?
Oh, maybe it is a month.
So it would be a good idea to see the full.
We need to see the report.
Yeah.
So what we saw was an overview of a presentation today.
Executive summary.
We got kind of an executive summary of an executive summary, right? But they did have some significant work done by folks who are tops in their field on this stuff. So on the one hand, Tom is correct. They didn't look for other precedents, but on the other hand, in many ways, there aren't any. Because this is an entirely unique place and an entirely unique time with totally different conditions that, again, require that modeling. So I was really pleased with what I saw today, as was Zach, as was Paul Dietrich. But I can't assess it without seeing the report. So as soon as we see the report, we'll make sure everybody gets it. Okay? All right?
Can I ask a question about it?
Yeah.
Just in general terms? So, I was at the,
Kevin, you want to hit your mic?
sorry, I guess I was off record here. So, I was at the KMA Science Center when they came and met with all of us, and that was like one of those brainstorming sessions. It was just like, you threw up a pile of different ideas. Is that, then somewhere along the line, I got the impression that they realized they had gotten in over their head, that it was too broad of a topic and they needed to narrow it down somewhat and, focus more on the resiliency aspect. And so I guess I'm just wondering if all those other ideas were sort of lost in this. And I'll use an example, one that happens to really matter to me. Lorraine brought up the idea of, we should be burying our electric lines and things like that, our power lines and so forth. And, that, of course, takes a lot of money, but it is a worthy project, and certainly those can be done well and safely, today's technologies. And the reason I think of it as important is that, plus just a general point that this is one of the few really beautiful towns that I know that has a hodgepodge of lighting, street lighting, half of which doesn't even work, and leaves big black, bare spots that are just not, you can trip over the sidewalk, and in our case, we allow cobble, those slate sidewalks, so we're setting up our own tripping hazards even for it, And I would love to see us at some point in the future come up with our historic lamppost, whatever that is, the ones that I think are nice, populate the historic district at least, and then maybe in the newer sections, you don't have to worry about that. But that was all part of just electric resiliency. That was how that came into play in the discussion. It wasn't about the appearance of the light. It was about, preserving the electric.
The definitive
light
thing
to be
that's coming
seen
out is
in
flood
KMA.
resiliency?
It's climate resilience, how it intersects with historic preservation. But it's broader than that because historic preservation is only one aspect of it. That was the portal into which they began this work. And they did have to compress a little bit the scope. And that's why it came out that there's 4 components. It's finances, large-scale infrastructure, natural mitigation, and small-scale infrastructure or individual homeowners. And one of the things they did do is they built a pretty interesting kind of plug-and-play cost-benefit analysis tool, which can evaluate the CBA on any of the strategies that emerge out of the studies that now have to be engaged. They by no means had, and in 2 months, you couldn't even put a dent in the kind of flooding studies that need to be done to properly model this. But they've given us, I think, a scaffold and an arc, a trajectory of how to proceed, which I find, based on what they presented today, pretty powerful. We'll see what the report says. But I would like to ask you, all of us, because I'm hoping that we can begin the next year with a couple of other alignment workshops, is to really put together a list of the things you think are priorities for us to be looking at next year and get them to me. I don't want to go further than that, because as soon as the new year starts, then we can get diligent about this, and I'll solicit that from all of you, so that we can plan maybe another alignment workshop in February or March to kick the year off. February would be best, if possible. You guys all right with that? It has to be late February, because I won't be here in early February. Yeah, neither will you, right? Okay. So, with that said, there's two other things I'd like to talk about real quickly before I ask for your input. One is, Zach approached us about creating a city signage ordinance, primarily for consistency. And this would be consistency not only of materials, but of font and language, even the text, because there's 6 different ways to say America's first resort, which is probably inaccurate anyway, right? In any case, this would just be for the city of Cape May's signage, not for the signage that's in the zoning ordinance now. And Chris, in his kindness, kind of, has offered to draft a first pass at that, and he and Lorraine and I will be working on developing that into something that we can present to all of you. And anybody else who'd like to work on that, let me know. And then eventually,
You say, this is with respect to city control?
City control.
City control.
Yeah, city control.
Because private control, you've got.
oh yeah, no, we don't want to do
lots
that.
of other problems.
Right, and so part of this is also, what are the different signage categories, like street signs, public building signs, tourist, what do you want? Wayfinding, public engagement, all that kind of stuff. So we don't have anything like that.
And John, I know I talked to you
Yeah.
over at Janice's house, where when you go to a national park, all the signage is uniform.
Yep.
And it's really nice, because you know right away, it's an official sign, it's something that you gravitate towards, and
It's such part of the visual environment that consistency is really the name of the game here. That's the word Zach kept saying, I want to see consistency, so. Yeah, lighting is in there too. Yeah.
Interesting, the Coast Guard base has beat us to it. All their signage now are on really nice standards, black, the signs, the lettering for the streets and things. Now, they don't have as many signs as we
Right.
do.
But what he
it
does.
Really, it ties together very, very nicely.
that's that 400 million, right? That's what they're spending it on.
Okay, and lastly, before I open it up to anybody who has any other topics, unfortunately, Janice was unable to be with us tonight, but huge progress has been made on the Historic Preservation Awards. I spent pretty much all weekend on it, putting together the PDF files into packets. Still needs a little more work, but Judy, have you any updates that you would like to give us?
No, just we had a very nice meeting, and we had a little fun and social event, which I think is a great thing for HPC. I also agree, I think we've made a lot of progress. I think it's going to be a nice event, and we're right on schedule.
The cookies were great.
Janice.
Yeah.
Just because you missed the city
I
appreciation.
missed the
Month.
city. Well, I
missed the
did
coo-
because
you missed the
I had.
cookies?
So was the
Yeah,
Missed the cookies.
yeah, I know. I really wanted to be at that. Okay. Any other subjects that anyone would like to bring up for discussion?
Real quick, my monthly outreach committee report.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
And that complete dead end with Cape May Tech regarding the restoration hardware curriculum. So I just found out now that Lower Cape May Regional has a woodworking program, so I'm going to reach out to them, which is probably even going to be better.
Wow.
And more at home. Additionally, David Cassidy is not involved with WCFA anymore, and Annie Walsh has taken over. I spoke with Annie. Annie tells me that our PSAs are on a rotation 3 times a day currently.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Well
I've
done.
been listening. I haven't heard them yet.
So did you hear what Jake did on these? They're really well done.
No.
Tell them what you
us,
did.
Tell us more, as they say.
Well, I mean, in a nutshell, it was just outreach where we're like, with a little fact, are you aware that, the entire city of Cape May is a National Historic Landmark, one of the few cities that has that, and that, if you have you're buying a place in town, come into our Tuesday morning meetings, and then we make it like kind of mushy, like, we're neighbors helping neighbors. We're all in this together.
So you're saying these are on the air?
They're on the air on WCFA.
So this is PSAs on the low power
Yes,
station?
yes.
Yeah, in a local station. Yeah, it's cool.
And I mean, I doubt we could get them on other stations, but at least they're being done locally, and that's who we're trying to reach.
Yeah, what are they? They're like 30 seconds, right?
They're
Something like that?
30 seconds exactly, yeah.
The difficulty has, of course, always been, it's an LP station.
Yeah.
It's a little bullet
Yeah.
in a large,
Yeah. Reaches up to about Stone Harbor.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, depends
Okay.
on the weather.
Thank you, Jay.
That's it.
Thank you. Any other items for discussion tonight, folks? Hearing none, I move to adjourn.
Second.
So,
So adjourn.
you can adjourn all by yourself.